Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And not a lot going on, guys. We are in mid-August. The long offseason continues as we slowly but surely march towards the preseason, and our New Jersey Devils are still waiting to sign Luke Hughes. Still have not signed Luke Hughes. Still have not made any blockbuster moves that many people were hoping for. It is what it is, guys. I will say this probably is one of the most boring off seasons in recent memory. I can't remember another off season that was as lackluster. I mean, listen, they're not all going to be, like last summer's free agent frenzy when Fitz went out and got everybody. I mean, they all can't be like that, obviously. But I think we were all hoping for quite a bit more than what we've seen. Dadonov, Brown, I do like them for bottom six guys. I've talked about this a million times. I do think that Dadonov at times will be probably playing in the top six, which, is not ideal, right? Glaring roster holes. And guys are going to be playing top 6 minutes that shouldn't be, or at least on a Cup hopeful team would not be seeing top 6 minutes. I do think you're going to see that, but overall, so far, fairly disappointing. It is what I expected. Everyone's waiting on the Luke thing. I thought that probably was going to drag into September. And I have a very special guest to bring on screen with you. A lot of you know this gentleman from his program, Locked On Devils, my man, Trey Matthews. What's going on, Trey? How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Ace. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm just in New Jersey. You're back to work, but still smell like a vacation.
Yeah, you know what? I joked about it on an episode I just recorded. I went to Europe for 2 weeks. I moved out of my apartment in Florida because my internship with the Everblades ended. And still, Luke Hughes has not been extended. So despite all that, despite literally going across the ocean, still nothing.
It's number one priority, though. Listen, it's going to happen eventually.
I know it's going to happen eventually. Look, he can't be offer sheeted, so that I think that's a good thing. But I really expected the Devils to get the ball rolling when July 1st rolled around. Unfortunately, nothing has panned out. I thought Andre Palat would be out the door, maybe Dawson Mercer. A dark horse would be Dougie Hamilton, but all three of them are obviously still on the roster. And I talked about it on an episode that I just recorded. Once they get Luke Hughes extended, I think you're looking at the 2025-2026 New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, I can't disagree. I kind of thought that's what we were going to see from months ago. I know a lot of people, for whatever reason, thought, Palat might be gone, Dougie might be gone, and then we're going to go make this big splashy acquisition. I never really thought that was in the cards. And, it seems like it could, right? I mean, there is a path to doing something like that if you were so inclined, but I do believe that in Fitz's mind, being healthy is this massive addition, which, listen, I'm not going to, say that that's not true, but I think that alone, counting on health as like your big boost, I unfortunately don't think that's going to be enough to be a true Cup contender, but there's teams far worse off than the Devils are right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, you still got your core. You got Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, Teemo Meyer. Connor Brown will replace Eric Haula. Evgeny Dadonov, I have a question mark about. He is up there in age. He did put up 20 goals last year. I'm going to see how it works, but I'll be honest, Ace. They do look like a good team on paper, but it really comes down to health. And when Fitzgerald said that we're not coming back with the same group, I'm like, okay, great. What moves are you going to make? All right, you got rid of Eric Haula. That was a no-brainer. But you replace him with Connor Brown. All right. Tomas Tatar, Nathan Bashin, Curtis Lazar, Justin Dowling, they're not returning. I'm like, okay, great. But what else? Like, I feel I feel somewhat let down. And I was in Los Angeles covering the draft, and I was talking to all sorts of people that I could potentially talk to. And the name of the game was that we were going to wait until July 1st. So that way Palat and Hamilton's no movement clauses reduced to 10 teams. So that way maybe you could see one of them get dealt away to clear up some cap, but obviously that didn't come into fruition. Yep. So honestly, offseason just kind of meh.
If all they do is extend Luke, what would you give Fitz letter grade wise for the offseason?
Honestly, I'd give him like a C or a C plus. You know, he didn't make it. He didn't make
You're generous. You're a kind man.
Look. He didn't make them worse, but he didn't make it significantly better. So I'm a little indifferent. Like, hey, I'm less generous than I think the Athletic gave the Devils either an A or a B, and I'm just like, no.
For the offseason?
For the offseason, yep.
Oh, man. I mean, yeah, how can you take any publication that would, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, you went C. I'm going to go, I'll probably have to go D. I mean, listen, I got to go D. Yeah, D. I mean, like you said, you rattled off all the names not returning, but what's that? The addition by subtraction method? Like, great, you didn't bring all some of the dead weight back, but what did you do? I mean, listen, Donald Brown, great, but that's not pushing you to true cup caliber team. Like, yeah, the bottom six should be slightly better. And let's be honest, right? What is the bar to be slightly better than what they did last season? I mean, they essentially did nothing. So anything you do essentially is going to make the bottom six better, but how much better is that making the team overall? Maybe you win two games in the first round. My only hope for everything is just defense and marquee. Just grind out ugly wins and hopefully do it in the playoffs. But I do think this is the time where you have a core that is aging, and people are like, oh, the window. They're talking about the window opening years down the line from years ago. And it's like the window opens and closes pretty quickly. And I've been pretty vocal about the whole Nico thing, which people think I'm crazy. But assuming the team kind of stays where they've been for the last few seasons, I mean, do you think there's a chance that Nico is like, maybe I should go somewhere else to win? Or do you think that's me being a psycho? Because there's people on both sides of this, but a lot of people have been like, oh, you're crazy, he's a lifer. And I just don't know for the life of me why people would assume that a guy like Nico, who I do think he likes it here, obviously, and likes being the captain of the Devils, but I also think he wants to win a cup. And if we see another year or two similar to what we've seen, where no big moves are made at the deadline, no real push to improve the roster for a playoff run, and we're just kind of, out in the first round or maybe out early in the second round, that he's like, you know what? There's tons of teams that are going to offer him crazy money, and teams that will be in a better position to win a cup. And so I think that there's a chance that he's like, you know what? I tried, and it's time to move on. What do you think about all that?
Well, that's a possible outcome. I'm not going to rule it out. I think it's an extreme outcome, but it is possible. We saw it this offseason. Mitch Marner, he left Toronto to join Vegas, and Toronto, you would think that their window was like for many years to come. Austin Matthews, William Nylander, himself, John Tavares, a playoff caliber team could never get over the hump. Yes, that is very possible. Or Brad Marchand, he was captain of the Bruins the past few seasons after Patrice Bergeron, and he was dealt to the divisional rival Panthers at the deadline. Anything is possible. Let me be honest, Ace, was that on your bingo card? Any of those outcomes? Marner leaving, Marchand leaving, was that on any of your bingo cards?
I'll be honest, for Marner, I did think so. And it's a little different though. Like they're similar in some ways, but I do think, Toronto media and playing in Toronto versus playing in New Jersey couldn't be more different, right? Like Mitch Marner couldn't live a normal life in the city of Toronto. He couldn't go to the grocery store without, being mobbed by people. People have to realize that in places like that, hockey is everything. It's religion. It's everything. And so when you're a superstar on the Maple Leafs, your life is a little bit different than, say, if you were Mitch Marner, even probably on Vegas, or any, Buffalo, even the Devils. Like there's plenty of Devils players, even during the glory years of all-time greats, that could just go about their daily lives and not be bothered, because unless you're like a hardcore Devils fan, you're not going to notice them in public or approach them. Canada is a different animal, and the media as well. I'm sure you've seen a lot of the, post-game press conferences with Toronto media, and it is nothing like New Jersey. New Jersey is a cakewalk. So I do think all of the pressure of them just constantly collapsing in the playoffs, I think finally probably got to him, and it just seemed like for a while he was going to be the odd man out. I didn't know necessarily that he was going to go to Vegas, but I did think that he was just going to look for a change of scenery because I think that weighs on him. His whole career, he's played under that, very intense scrutiny from fans, the media, and it just was like, maybe I got to go somewhere else, for a change of pace. And obviously, I don't think it hurt that Vegas is another income tax-free state. So when you're talking about, what was his deal total? It was something ridiculous. It was $100 million or whatever. Over the how much was it?
8-year, $96 million contract extension.
Yeah, $96 million. So you're talking about a good chunk of change saved as well. And I know
come on, Ace. He's in Vegas. What are we doing? He's in Vegas.
No, I know, but these guys, it obviously is an attractive place to play. I don't think people, I do think people make a bigger thing out of it though. Like the guys back in the day did way more off-ice shenanigans than the current guys do. Now, obviously, I'm sure.
But let me use a different example. You as a lifelong Devils fan, did you ever envision Martin Brodeur playing for a different team?
No, that was terrible, man. It's one of those things that I'll never be okay with. And I do think I could talk about this forever, but I do think it was definitely avoidable. And I just think it was a classic. It's very reminiscent almost to me of like Brady Belichick, right? Like towards the end, that was like Lou and Marty, where they had this long time relationship, great championships and all that. And yeah, the old man just didn't give him the heads up, man. And he found out on draft day in New Jersey, they announced Corey Schneider. And I was like, whoa, everyone in the arena was shocked. And then obviously at the time, Hedberg basically found out he was out of a job that way. And that was it. I knew at that point it's a wrap. It is a wrap. And then watching him play on the Blues, this was gross. Totally gross.
So my point exactly. It is possible that Nico Hischier could leave the Devils. That I'm just putting that out there as a hypothetical.
Whoa, let's not listen. I love Nico, but let's not go Nico and Marty. I mean, come on. Let's win at least a second round before.
Hold on. I'm just saying. Like you asked me if it was possible that Nico could leave the Devils.
How about this? What percent chance do you think he stays?
Well, it's too early to tell.
Just give me a percentage, ballpark.
Okay, if he were to stay,
as of right now,
I'd say anywhere from 80 to 90%.
Okay, I was gonna say like 70.
Okay, yeah,
I was gonna say like 70, but 30% I think is a big. That's enough for me to be kind of scared.
Yes, but you also have to factor this in. Here's where I'm a little more concerned about. Markstrom and Allen, both of them are 35 years old. They're getting up there in age. What's going to happen to them? I would say Allen and Markstrom were one of the best goaltending tandems in the league this past season. So, and Markstrom, this is the final year of his contract. What will that look like? So whatever happens, it's just like, that's also a big question mark. So I really got to see where the Devils are heading because, yeah, you got Hughes locked up. You got Bratter locked up. You got Meyer locked up. Hischier, 2 years remaining. A lot could happen. He seems to love New Jersey. He seems to love the fans. I don't want to put anything out there, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, if similar to what you said, if the Devils do implode these next couple of years, I wouldn't put it past him to possibly explore a little bit, but I think in an ideal world, he'd stay in New Jersey.
It's definitely an ideal world. I just, I feel like for a lot of reasons, this upcoming season is a massive one just because of the now 2 failing seasons after a franchise record-setting season where the next season you miss the playoffs in 23-24. Then last season, 24-25, you get dusted by Carolina in 5. At some point, there needs to be an aggressive move or moves to truly signify you are trying to win now. And I've talked about this, beating a dead horse, but getting Cody Glass and Sprong, that's not a team trying to win now. And then people, a lot of the people are like, oh, Jack was hurt, so throw your hands in the air. But again, if your entire team's fortunes are relying on in hockey anyway, on a single player, then I would say your roster is extremely flawed.
I mean, look, here's a hot take for me. If Jack Hughes gets hurt again and suffers it, hold on. If he gets hurt again, is it time to have a conversation?
About what?
About possibly, I don't know. Just
Look
like
ahead. About what? Trading him?
Yes.
I know that's what you were alluding to. Well, how about this, Trey? If he gets hurt again, what do you think you're actually going to get for him at that point?
I don't know, but you can't keep doing this song and dance routine where he puts up good numbers and then his season gets cut short due to injury, or he's trying to play through injury.
I couldn't agree more, but I feel like we're at a point now where it's like, is this kid ever going to play 82 games? Listen, I love Jack, obviously, dynamic player, must-see TV stuff. But in the end, if you can't play 82 games or a combination of missing a ton of time and the playoffs, like, listen, if he missed 20 games every year and it was like dead smack in the middle of the season, that would still suck too. But missing a ton of games and missing the playoffs is obviously, Matthew Tkachuk, right? How many games is he going to miss between last year and this season coming up? A ton. But when the playoffs started, he was out there and he was giving it his all and he was performing. So, I hope that we could finally see 82 games out of him. How likely that is, I don't really know. But as long as he's somewhat healthy for the playoffs and looks like his old self, I'll take it. But, if he gets hurt again, I mean, listen, there's people that have been calling to trade him. There's obviously, you've seen, I'm sure, there's like a contingency of haters that have been talking about trading him for a couple years now.
Yeah.
But if he was to have some sort of big injury setback again, I mean, at that point, if you're even remotely looking to trade him, I think what you would be offered because of the known risks would be so non-impressive that you'd be like, we might as well keep him. I mean, because I don't think the package, again, after another injury, would be anything remotely what people would imagine, because it's not a secret, right? Everyone knows. So if he's hurt again, people would be lined up to try to get him, obviously, and they would be crossing their fingers that he stays healthy, but they're going to try to get him on a value kind of deal. They're not going to part with a ton of assets and roster players to bring in a guy who's amazing when healthy, but not healthy a lot.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, let me just say this. I'm not manifesting this. I really hope that Jack Hughes can either play anywhere from 75 to 82 games. Look, nobody's 100% come the playoffs. It's a different animal. But we need to see Jack really take this seriously and get in the weight room. We've been saying this since he was 18. Get into the weight room, get a little stronger, so that way you can have some muscle and some cushion and just and I don't know, take some skating lessons. It seems like him and his brother fall down a lot. Maybe I'm being too harsh here, but like I said, you can't keep doing this where he puts up good numbers, very impressive, superstar in this league, but he goes down with a big time injury, and then the Devils are just left at a very interesting position. And we saw it during the deadline, which is, do they go for it? Do they try to contend, or do they just say, let's just get some pieces that might be low value and hope for the best?
You can't be any more hoping. But to your point about the weight room, I mean, it's kind of crazy that we're still saying this years later. I think it was like a week or two after he was drafted. There was like some event like, oh, go meet Jack Hughes, whatever. I went with one of my buddies. And I remember when I saw him, like when I went up to him, I was like, oh my God. Like, obviously he looked very young, but his build and like everything, like when I walked up to him, I was like, I don't know. When we walked away, I had texted my other buddy and I was like, say a prayer for this kid. I think he's going to die, because he just looked like, he's gotten slightly bigger. I forget if it was after his rookie season or maybe his second year, they put out a ton of photos of like him and his brothers. I think he was like dragging weights and shit, shirtless, like, all the, the stuff all the young girls like to see. And like, he did look bigger, but the starting point was very kind of underwhelming. But yeah, when you're hurt every year and that's how your season ends, like, I don't even know, is he even allowed to lift weights right now? And I feel like this is another thing that kind of happens every year too. It's like, oh, one of these days he's going to hit the gym hard, but he can't because he's still rehabbing from the injury. And it's like chicken or the egg kind of thing.
Well, listen, Tom Fitzgerald said during his presser, his words, not mine, that Jack Hughes is coming into his quote unquote man body, whatever that is. Once again, not my words. That's Tom Fitzgerald's words. So don't take what I just said out of context.
And the other thing I thought that was interesting, and a lot of his pressers kind of bleed together for me. I don't think it was necessarily the end of season one, but it may have been, where he was asked about Dawson Mercer and he made it a point, and I forget what the prompt, like it was kind of prompted, but he said something along the lines of, Dawson has to get bigger and stronger, and it wasn't a recommendation, like it was something demanded of him, something along the lines of that. And I forget who asked it, but I wish whoever kind of got that response from him followed it up with like, well, who else are you making those demands of? Because I don't think, Mercer, I think is applicable to him, but I don't think by any stretch he's the only guy that kind of mantra should, be looked at. I do think there is several guys that could benefit from a vigorous off-season kind of training situation. You see guys on other teams and in other sports. I'm sure you're a sports fan. You see, some of these guys take it a lot more seriously than others. And a lot of times you see the difference play out on the field, the ice, the court, whatever it is. Guys that are putting in the extra work, it shows.
I mean, yeah, you want to use a different sports example. I'll say this for basketball. My favorite player, LeBron James, he came into the league. I know. Nope. You're not. Nope. Be quiet. Let me make my point. He came into the league scrawny, and then years later, he puts on more muscle. So, that if you said look at it in different sports contexts, I was like, yep, I agree with you.
He's number 3 for sure, behind Jordan and Kobe. But there's crazy stories. I don't know if you heard.
That's a different debate, buddy. That's a different debate.
Look up the stories. There's really good stories about, if you want to like tireless work ethic. Kobe was always one of my favorite players, but then as I got older and learned more about him, I liked him even more because obviously he was a freak athlete and he was very gifted, but he also took it very seriously and did things other guys weren't going to do to separate himself even more. And you could read, like, there's crazy stories of him, like, waking trainers up at 3 a.m. and shit to go shoot at local gyms or high school, wherever he could get into, waking up these trainers to do all these crazy things. And when he was on that Redeem team with your boy LeBron and Melo and all those kids, there was a story that someone put, I think it was what LeBron or one of them told the story, maybe on the documentary. They were coming back when they had the Team USA orientation camp in Vegas. They were coming back from the club at like 4 a.m. and they saw him coming out of the elevator and they're like, yo, where are you going? He's like, I'm training. Like, and they were like, all banged up and stuff, like going to sleep. And then they go on to tell the story that slowly over time, they were like, oh shit, like this is the elder statesman. This is what he's doing. And we're out here dicking around in the club. And then they all started kind of getting on board with him and doing the, his crazy morning trainings and stuff. So they, they were young kids, but the point is in every sport, people that take it seriously and a year-long kind of job versus you're just getting a paycheck and just showing up, very different. Even Yager, look up their stories about Yager, the freak stuff he would do. I mean, the guy's still playing right now. He's like 50-something years old.
Yeah,
there was stories.
Yeah, he's playing for, I think, a team that he owns, and so that makes it a little easier for him. But, yeah, the dude will not retire.
No, and he's on Yager.
And by the way, for anyone who does like doing the immaculate grids like me, Yager is perfect for a lot of teams.
Is that like that's something like Puck Doku, right? Where like
basically like, let's see. So today's grid is like name a Rangers and a Blues player. So obviously Wayne Gretzky or Rangers and Penguins. I picked Yager, or pick a Golden Knights and a Penguins player. I chose Cody Glass. So
yeah. So what's the site? Is it a website?
It's called ImmaculateGrid.com. It's sponsored by Hockey Reference. That's the
Immaculate Grid.
Yeah,
I wonder if they copied Puck Doku or Puck Doku copied them.
Well, I don't know, but either way, I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, this is like I don't need anything more to waste time on, but I do love this shit too.
It really does.
Oh man.
They also have it for baseball, basketball, football. So, you could really test out your sports knowledge a little bit. And I love it. And I love it when I can use a player that a lot of people wouldn't guess. So like if it one time says like guess a Penguins and a Maple Leafs player, I will say Stefan Nason, because Nason played in one game with the Maple Leafs back in 2021.
That's definitely an obscure one for sure.
Yeah, I love it. It really expands your knowledge a little bit.
Oh, now there's people I'm getting chirped in the chat here. Hold on. There's a lot of haters in the chat. You know the name of it. You know the name of the game. You know how this works. I'm just scanning here.
Yeah, they're saying it's big 2 summers ago. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I still play it because I enjoy it.
What, the website?
Yeah, Immaculate Grid. Apparently it caught fire a couple summers ago, and
excuse us for being late to the party. I never heard of it till today. Let me see. Oh boy, so this guy hates Jack Hughes. SST. He's a regular. Remember, Jack is the Devil's savior and will get us 3 Stanley Cups at least. Well, I mean, listen, it's still early. SST. It could happen. I'll take 1 at this point. I just want 1.
Well, yeah. Last time the Devils won a Stanley Cup, I don't think I could speak in full sentences then. So, yeah, it's been a minute.
Oh man, it's just a shame that so many of our fans weightlifting like Jack's got that man body, Tom.
Yep, Jack. That's Fitzy's words, not mine. Fitzy's words.
This guy Fitz should stop doing pressers. He always puts his foot in his mouth.
Hey, good content for me. I don't care either way.
Fitzgerald is about to give Mercer the Lindy Holtz treatment.
Well, Holtz was good at scoring, but in terms of like handling the puck and defensive capabilities, not all that good. And plus, Paul Cotter was an upgrade. Paul Cotter brought aggression and was good on the forecheck and really good in shootouts too. So
I love Cotter. I thought he was gonna, he tapered off. Obviously, he started off crazy, but Bobby. Yeah, so this is a good point. Jack needs to spend the summer with Bratt. Every year, Bratt comes back big and stronger, and it shows. Now, I would never say Bratt's like, some physically intimidating player. However, you can see a year-to-year kind of improvement from him, where he's not the biggest guy, but he also, when the wind blows, he doesn't get knocked off the puck. So, to Bobby's point, I'd be curious to know exactly what his training regimen consists of, and if he wants to bring in any of his teammates with him. Because for a guy that is, like I said, not physically intimidating by any means, pound for pound, definitely has gotten much stronger on the puck. And one of my favorite sequences from last season, that Blackhawks game, where he used his speed to close the gap on a guy, a Blackhawks player, I forget who it was, and he kind of like slammed him against the glass, which was like kind of uncharacteristic for Bratt. And a move of aggression, grabbed the puck, and I think he passed it to Pesci. They changed. I think Jack came flying on the ice, and Pesci hit him with the pass. Jack broke the net and scored the goal, but it all came from a Bratt forced turnover, essentially, where he did show a little snarl. But yeah, Bratter, he's been Mr. Consistency. I do think he's criminally underrated by our fan base and across the league.
Yeah, I mean, one of the strengths for Jesper Bratt is his availability. And honestly, we talk about Jack Hughes potentially becoming the first Devils player in history to eclipse 100 points. Honestly, I wouldn't put it past Bratt to do it first, because he's always available and he continues to improve. So could Jesper Bratt become the first Devils player in history to reach 100 points? I think it's possible. Remember, availability.
No. Because of that alone, the thing that sucks though in that department is he's at his best when Jack is healthy also. So it's kind of like, I agree with what you're saying. And I would say because of the games played, he probably is slightly more likely than Jack to get it, but his production will suffer when Jack is hurt. So it's kind of like, one of those things where, yeah, he's going to play more games, but he will be producing at his highest level when Jack is healthy too.
And looking at Hockey Reference, Jesper Bratt was 10th on the team in hits with 96. He had more hits than Jonas Siegenthaler, Nico Hischier, Dawson Mercer, Brett Pesce, some other defensemen too. So Jesper Bratt is kind of throwing his weight around just a little bit.
Who do you have as your biggest kind of, what is your, I guess, like, who's your wild card player for the season? If you're like, this is kind of a guy who might make a bigger impact than we think.
Arseny Gritsyuk.
That's mine too.
Yeah, I don't want to put all my trust in Gritsyuk, but I think he could definitely be something. I don't want to put too much pressure on him, but I think Gritsyuk could make some noise. I wouldn't put it past him.
How many points do you think?
That's a good question. What did he put up in Russia this past season?
He was like I want to say he was like a 0.8 points a game guy. Let me see.
So with in the KHL, he put up 44 points in 49 games.
Well, he was closer to a point, almost a point a game.
Yeah, but the KHL is not easy. I'll say that it's not easy at all.
Yeah, 23-24. He was 38 in 50 games. Then last year 44 and 49.
I think he could put up conservatively maybe 35 points, something like that.
I would hope for a little more than that, but that's a super real. I was hoping for like 15 and 25 for 40. Some people are like, he's going to play top 6 and he's going to score 30 goals. And I'm like, dude, like, talk about setting up a kid for failure. I do think that's a bit of a stretch. And listen, the reality is some guys can't make the jump, right? I hope that doesn't happen. That would be devastating. But, 15 goals and 25 assists or, 20, anything around 40 points, I think would be a pretty sizable win for the Devils. And anything beyond that is a huge plus. But I do think, for whatever reason, I don't know why I think this, I do think that Fitz is counting on him to be like a top 6 regular, which, listen, it'd be great if it happened. I just think it's a scary proposition to kind of bank on that.
Yeah, I mean, look, what else can the Devils do? That's just the big question. Like,
move some money out and go get somebody.
Well, it's still possible, but here's why I think Andre Palat is making it a little difficult. I don't think he wants to go to a place like Anaheim, San Jose, or Chicago.
I mean, would you?
No, I mean, because, Palat has played on playoff caliber teams, albeit he's only played with the Lightning and Devils, but he wants to play on a team that's going to go to the playoffs.
No, I think that's missing. Whether you agree with Fitz giving everybody no move and no trade clauses or not, that's why the guys get them. So like, listen, I control my destiny. You're not going to ship me off to some shit city where we'll be playing golf in April. He's like, no. I'm going to have a say in this thing.
Yeah, see, that's the problem I have with Fitzy when it comes to his contracts. I like Connor Brown, but the fact that Fitzy gave him trade protection, I'm just like, that's what got you in trouble at the deadline, because they couldn't move on from Eric Haula, Andre Palat, players like that, because they had trade protection. The only valuable asset you had that you could trade away was Dawson Mercer. But theoretically, Dawson Mercer was the best contributor on the bottom 6. So it's like, if you trade him away, you better be getting a bona fide asset who can contribute right away.
What do you expect from him next year? He's another one that's kind of on my wild card list, but I have to give the nod to Gritsyuk just because he's coming from a different league, so it's a little more of an unknown. But a lot of people have been down on Mercer. Listen, I like Mercer. I just think people had unrealistic expectations after he had that big year in 22-23. But like, what do you think in terms of like point production out of him for next year would be considered like good? Like, if Mercer gets X amount of points, he had a decent season.
So I talked about this on my show. I don't think Dawson Mercer was given a fair chance just because of who he was paired alongside with. So, like, when we go back to the season, like you mentioned, his line mates throughout the year were Nico Hischier and Tomas Tatar. Remember, Tatar had a big year that year as well. So I think for Mercer, just because, let's see, Daily Faceoff projects Mercer to be on the third line, which I see paired alongside Gritsuk and Brown. The thing about Mercer is that he's more comfortable playing wing than center.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that also plays a factor because he understands why he has to play center, especially when Jack went down with his injury. But I think, let's see, what did he put up last year? Mercer in 82 games had 36 points. Honestly, if he could get 45 to 50 points, I'd be okay with that. But that might be pushing it a little bit.
It could be. I mean, I just feel like people, I don't know. I don't know what people thought he was going to become, but there's not many guys around the league that you're like, this is a guy that no matter what team he's on, you could put him out there in all situations and rely on him. Again, durability, right? Like,
yeah,
he has what, a 5 seasons in the league straight Iron Man streak. What the?
Yep, 80.
Yep, 4 seasons, 82 games, all 4 years. So there's something to be said for playing every game, right? And being able to play in all situations. I like Mercer. I'm hoping for closer to a 50-point season, but getting bottom unless he somehow gets an audition in the top 6 and kind of hangs around for some period of time, which is a possibility as well, right? Let's be real. We have a top 4 and then 2 spots that 2 guys are going to have to claim throughout the year. I do think you're going to see a lot of guys kind of cycled through until someone kind of sticks. I think you might see Nason get a crack there. You might see Dodonov, certainly Gritsuk if he shows any promise early on or in camp preseason. Mercer. So I do think there's a ton of guys that will be kind of tried out there. And if he could stick in the top 6, then I definitely think, the 45, 50 points should be kind of automatic. But like you said, depending on who your line mates are, that is a huge variable, especially if you're in the bottom 6, that is going to ultimately have a pretty big impact on what his season looks like.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And like I said, Mercer, the reason he had that big productive year a few seasons ago was because one of his line mates consistently was Nico Hischier. And where would you plug him in? Because like I said, he needs to play his natural position. And I think that's also why Teemo Meyer has sometimes struggled, because he's not given a fair chance on the power play and he's playing on his off wing.
I couldn't agree more with that. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, the wing doesn't matter. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Look,
I disagree wholeheartedly.
Back-to-back years when Jack goes down with his injury and Teemo is given a bigger chance on the power play, and when he's playing his natural right wing position, he could do great things.
His whole career in San Jose, he was on the right side and just roaming around the front of the net on the power play. And then we get him in a trade, and then it's like, oh, let's not use him the way he was used in San Jose, which is why we traded for him. It is kind of baffling. I hope that he's on the right side permanently, and I hope he gets power play one time. He's another guy I've defended a lot. Everyone knows I like the physicality, the rough stuff. I like the Bulls, and Teemo is definitely our only guy in the top 6 that brings those elements. And even in a couple seasons back in that Rangers series, despite not having a point against the Rangers, he had a pretty big impact on the series for him, just like an agitation kind of physicality standpoint. So when you have a mixture of a guy like that could do all that stuff and score a decent amount of goals and rack up points, give me another one of them. But he's another guy, because of his contract, that I've defended him against, tons of people that are like, oh, this guy's overpaid and he sucks and blah, blah, blah. And for me, I was always looking at Teemo because of all the other stuff he brings. I'm just looking for a 30-30 season out of him pretty much every year. 60 points for me for Teemo with all the other stuff he does. I think that's a win. He had 53, I think, last year. And people are like, oh, he's like, it's not like he had 32 points. I mean, I get he almost makes $9 million, but especially in today's cap climate, that contract is not bad at all. But people still bring out the pitchforks and like, oh, that was a terrible trade and a terrible signing. And I couldn't disagree more.
Look, there was going to be a team, according to NHL Network, that was going to open up their checkbooks for Teemo. So I think the Devils should be grateful to have him. I agree with you. Sometimes I think Teemo isn't played correctly, but when the month of March rolls around, you can best believe it's going to be Meyer madness. I also see someone in the comment section saying Dennis Cholowski, so I wanted to show this.
That might be the most obscure bobblehead in the history of bobbleheads.
I literally found this in the basement of my school, and I'm just like, Dennis Cholowski had his own bobblehead with the Red Wings.
Was that a minor league? I'm so curious now.
Nope, it's Detroit Red Wings.
No, but I think they're hold on. I think they're one of their minor league teams. I thought had basically the same jersey.
Nope.
No.
There's the okay, so their AHL affiliate is the Grand Rapids Griffins, I believe, if I'm correct. Yep.
No, I just looked it up. It was a Detroit Red Wings bobblehead night. Oh my God, that is so random.
Yep. So I just got this, and when they got Dennis Cholowski at the deadline, I'm just like, oh, so this bobblehead wasn't worth for nothing.
Oh, I don't have my bobbleheads behind me. I have a bit of a bobblehead situation. They need to do more of them.
Oh, bobbleheads. I learned this in sports marketing. Bobbleheads always do well for for sporting events.
For sure. And as far as I know, the sponsor, pull that one back up again. Was there a logo on that somewhere? There has to be. Okay, Meyer, right? Meyer paid the cost for those bobbleheads.
Yep.
And so I can, for the life of me, cannot understand if you're a team that has sponsors that will pay for the bobbleheads, and you know when you have bobblehead nights, you're going to sell more tickets. How did we have one? I think it was one bobblehead last year. It was Markey. I think that was the one.
And
you learned about it in your sports marketing class. Everyone knows.
Yep.
Bobblehead night, sell tickets.
Bobblehead nights do sell tickets. I also have, oh man, someone broke this. I don't know who went into my room while I was gone. I had the Nico and Chico bobblehead.
Oh, that's a classic.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to super glue that one. Oh, this was from a couple seasons ago. Obviously, love the jerseys.
That's the reverse retro 2, right?
Yep. The basically paying homage to when they were in Colorado.
Wow.
It grew. That jersey grew on me. They need to bring that back.
Yes. I'm trying to think. I mean, it's interesting. I did like the reverse retro one, the green one. That one was sick. Yeah.
This one, I love him too. The only issue is
great.
The only issue is I had to explain to people, like, the reason the Devils have green in their uniforms is not because of Christmas. It's because, you know, they're the Devils, as we all know, originally they're not named after Satan. They're named after a mythological creature that roamed Jersey. I think everyone knows the story, but yeah, I love this, so I had to get it.
I also like the white heritage one. It was just like the white with the green. Do I have any of those over here? No, they're not in my closet here. And apparently the jersey, despite the rumors that last year was going to be the last year, I heard, I don't remember from where, that's coming back for this year.
Honestly, those haven't really grown on me. Honestly, they have not grown on me.
I'll give you this. It grew on me from when I first saw it. I absolutely hated it. To now, I'm like, I could deal with it, but I never liked it at all. I do think with some minor tweaks, it had potential, but there had to be a real Devils logo on it somewhere. Like, even if it was a shoulder patch, maybe some more red, but like those weird white stripes was like something with the Newark Bulldogs or some team that played, like, I don't know. It seemed all very, a little bit of a reach. And then I like the jersey thing, but yeah, I don't know. I just never liked it. I was hoping for something better like this one. This one I could grab because this is right here. Oh shit! Of course, now when I'm trying to pull this is just the cleanest, sickest. This was before you were born, Trey. This is some real old man shit. This is like mid to late 90s. This was just so clean. Everything was the big stripe on the bottom like it used to be. Just make the jersey black and something like this. Very simple and beautiful. What is your young man kind of thoughts on a thing like this?
I like that. I think, if I'm just being honest, I think the shoulder red, maybe replace it as white, something like that. I mean, I think that would go better, but
okay, I can maybe live with that.
Yeah, like I like it. I think all black jerseys are really nice. I just don't the jersey for me, it just wasn't exactly what I envisioned when I think of a black uniform for the Devils. But you know what? I'm not an artist, and it's to each their own.
What did you think about the Stadium Series jersey?
They're really nice. Honestly, I thought they would be hard to see for the broadcasters because the black was so dark, and the red is also very dark.
Mm-hmm.
But the stadium jerseys are actually nice. I think they should bring those back. Honestly,
I don't know contractually if they can, but a lot of people are like, just flip it, which I think would be sick too. If they just did the same thing but in reverse, the jersey was black and then they had the red logo. I think that would be pretty clean too.
Yeah, that they were nice, and it reminds. Maybe it's just I'm a little nostalgic, if you would, because I wasn't able to go, but watching on TV, it was really nice.
You didn't go to that one?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh man, of all those, guy went to the draft. You couldn't make it to the Stadium Series. Oh man, if they do another one, you have to go.
Long story, short version. Not complaining. It's just when it comes to credentialing, usually only one representative from your network can go to something like that. So Locked On and Pucks and Pitchforks both already had a representative. Not going to complain about it. There'll be other opportunities, but I mostly went to the draft this past a few weeks ago just because I wanted to see some old friends from Arizona. We all got a hotel room, so
very nice.
Yeah, that's the whole reason I went to the draft. I don't know if you saw it on TV, but it was bad, like really.
Yeah, bad. the whole like screen thing. I didn't like it personally. And then Fitz, I think he outed himself and he was like, I voted for that. And I think they may have done another vote and he voted to keep it still. I can understand.
Hey, hold on. I see someone in the comment section. Don't ever tell me bear down. All right. Never. Don't do that. Don't do that. I went to Arizona State University, not University of Arizona. So no bear down. I'm sorry.
Oh, wait, what is bear down? Someone tell me what is it? That's some college reference?
Yes, that's reference to the University of Arizona.
Oh, this might be your rival here. Stick Figs might be you're a Sun Devil, and apparently what are they? They're Bears?
No, they're so stupid, just like their school. But University of Hey, friendly competition. University of Arizona. They're called the Wildcats, and the reason they say bear down as their slogan is because their quarterback, like years ago, got into a really bad accident. He was on his deathbed, and he told the team to bear down. And ever since then, the University of Arizona stuck with it, even though even though they're the Wildcats.
Super interesting. All right, I'm gonna bring in my man Tim from Uncle Puckers on here. Bam! By the magic of the internets, Tim, is your internet working out there wherever you're in your?
Look at that!
Wow, he's in like that's at least 720. Let's go.
Stick Figs, hold on a second. Stick Figs, I announced for the ASU women's hockey team. Yes, I've been to ACHA games. They are a lot of fun. I will give you that. I'm sorry. Continue.
What's going on, Tim?
Nothing. Just listen to you guys.
I'm trying not to complain about shit. You're like kind of positive. Trey's kind of positive. I try to be positive, but I'm probably not too good at it. So give us some words of inspiration, Tim. What do you got like in a positive?
All the fucking idiots in your comment section to shut up. We're going to be better than we were last year, everybody. Fucking relax. All right?
How many points? How many point season?
We're going to have 105 points.
105 points.
The biggest problem. All right, here you go. For 4 months of the season, we were fully healthy, right? 3 out of those 4 months, we were a top 5 team in the league. The wheels fell off in January. The reason for that was because basically Cotter and Nason were the only ones in the bottom 6 scoring goals in the fall. When they stopped scoring goals, our bottom 6 completely dried up. The power play went a little bit cold, and our overall play just fell off. Now that we brought in Dadonov, Gritsuk, and Connor Brown, our bottom 6 is going to be a lot faster. We're going to have a lot better depth. We're going to have connectivity between the shifts. That's what Keefe always talks about, is connectivity between the shifts. You talked about that Brat shift against Chicago, right?
Oh man,
that was because of shift connectivity. That Nico line pinned that Blackhawks team in the zone for about a minute and a half. And then Brad came in. I remember someone put it out on Twitter where they had a timer against that shift. And then Brad comes in, pastes that guy against the boards, hits Jack, and they score. That's what we're going to have a lot more of next year. All the fucking NPCs that we had in the bottom 6 are going to be gone.
What do you have for who did we talk about before, Trey? Gritsuk? How many points for him?
Yeah.
I think he probably tops out at about 40. He'll probably get some power play 2 time. Depends on where he gets deployed. Like I see the arguments for top 6, but maybe he'll be a little bit more sheltered. It really kind of depends on how they build out the lineup. We're all pining for a top 6 wing, and it's built.
It's so built.
I get that. Yeah. No. According to Fitz, we're still building it. Apparently,
he's not building. I just put the link in the chat for that. If anyone didn't see the shift that we're talking about, the Brader smash job.
So it depends on deployment, and I know everybody was just pining for a top 6 scoring wing, right? But if you really look at how teams are constructed, and I'll take 2 kind of extreme examples about scoring. You have the 4 forwards that play on power play 1. They're the guys that are going to score the majority of the points. We already have this problem with Teemo. Teemo's not going to get moved to power play 1. He shouldn't. He can't be.
You don't think at all?
We had the most dangerous power play in the fucking history of the league last year, and they were ranked 2nd overall. Why would they change that? There's absolutely no reason to change that. And one of the reasons why, when you have Nico and Nason operating net front and bumper, that gives you a lefty and a righty. So when you're attacking from the flanks, like Jack and Bratt are attacking from the flanks, when you don't have a right hand shot that can sit in that bumper.
You think Nason's You think Nason's going to get it?
Why would they break up that power play?
I don't
know why they would. It was the most dangerous power play by expected goals per 60.
Here we go. Timmy Analytics. How did Teemo didn't get his chance until Jack got hurt? Is that when he finally?
Yeah, they rearranged it a little bit. Bratt moved into Jack's left flank spot. Teemo went into his right flank spot. By the way, right wing, left wing doesn't matter at all.
Come on, man.
Well, you think he's more successful on the right wing because he was playing on that right flank in the power play. That's not his 5-on-5. 5-on-5, they deploy F1, F2, F3, offensive, defensive zone systems. There are no positions when the gameplay is happening.
Yeah,
the first guy back in the zone
that drives down that side every time, though.
Not really. A lot of times he'll come down the left wing, circle the net, then do that bad angle shot from the goal line. And he does like fucking 300 times a game.
Why does it got to be a bad angle shot?
I don't know. Ask him.
All right, I got hypothetical. I'll start with Trey. Realistic names.
Sorry, Trey. Sorry, I came in pretty hot.
They're all good. I don't look. But I don't.
It's nice to meet you, by the way. We've never met in person. I do listen to your show. So
thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. You as well. I don't usually cuss on my shows, so that
I do a lot. I apologize if that bothers you.
I'm not allowed.
Potty mouth.
The difference is I'm not allowed to. I'm not allowed. To
Oh yeah, we're a fan run show, so we can say whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to cuss.
Sorry, see, I just did it there. God, it's like I spent like 10 years in the Merchant Marines or something like that.
Realistic or somewhat realistic. If the Devils could have one trade, a guy to bring in via trade that's somewhat realistic. Trey, who of names, I guess, and they don't necessarily need to have been really rumored or anything, I guess, because a lot of these rumors are probably just completely made up to begin with, but something that's rooted in some form of reality. Devils could get one guy before the season starts. Who are you picking, Trey?
That's a good question. So I got a couple in mind. I think one would be Mason McTavish from the Ducks. I think McTavish brings both scoring and physicality. Another one would be Jason Robertson. And the reason I say Robertson is because I think Dallas is looking to clear up some money because of, Mikko Rantanen's contract. It was rumored that the Stars were willing to get some feelers out there for Robertson. So if the Devils were to pull some strings, I would say either McTavish or Robertson, whichever becomes available. Pie in the sky, Quinn Hughes.
Quinn Hughes. All right, Tim.
Yeah, I think McTavish, in terms of realistic, guys that would fit in perfectly, it would be McTavish. I don't know what the.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Let me add one more. Jared McCann from the Kraken.
Yeah, who knows what Seattle's doing? They're the most well-constructed, mediocre team I've ever seen in my life. McTavish would be number one. Think it probably starts with Nemec, maybe a little bit more. We'd also have to clear some room because he needs a new contract. Alex Tuck in Buffalo. I've been pining for Alex Tuck. I sleep with a picture of him, and when I go to sleep at night, just kind of petting it. Alex, come to the Devils. What I really want to see happen. So, if no trades have happened this summer, right? I think we kind of overestimate the competence of GMs. And I think since no trades and there's all this new cap space, there's $200 million of available cap space out there. I think all the GMs are I'm just going to sign my guy and kind of sign my guys and kind of punt this down the road. None of them want to get fired. None of them really kind of know what to do with their hands. So Ricky Bobby, I don't know what to do with my hands. So I think what's going to happen is teams are just going to start the season and say, all right, well, this is a team we're taking to the season. And there's that Thanksgiving demarcation of what is it, 75% of the teams at Thanksgiving make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I think if there are teams that are well out of it by then, I think then we start seeing some trades early, because I think there's also going to be kind of a de facto silence around the Olympic break this year, kind of like there was around Four Nations. So we need to root for Buffalo to be really bad, Anaheim to be really bad. I like McCann in Seattle. I'm not sold on Jason Robertson, and the main reason why is because his contract's up, I think, in either a year or two. I forget, Trey. I'm not sure if you know off the top of your head.
Off the top of my head, I think 1 year, which is why if you were to trade for him, maybe you can get him on the down low. Because
that's a good point.
A team might just view Robertson as a rental.
So Robertson had 80 points last year. It was a little bit of a down year. He did have that 106-point season, but almost 30 of those points were on the power play. And I think we kind of would run into that same issue that we have with Teemo, and Robertson is probably going to be trying to command in that $11-12 million range. At least that's the rumor. So are we really going to be paying $12 million to him and $9 million to Nico and Teemo to be playing power play too? I don't. That's why I'm not totally sold on Robertson. I've been looking at guys that put up huge 5-on-5 numbers and don't necessarily need power play time. That's why I think the Dadonov and Brown additions were really actually solid additions. When Fitz went on his ayahuasca retreat trying to figure out what the meaning of depth scoring is, I think he came back and was like, our 5-on-5 scoring was terrible. If you look at our 5-on-5 expected goals all season, our production from our team, it was awful all season. Even in the fall when we were good, in the fall was kind of largely masked by an amazing power play, good defense, goaltending. But that's what I was getting at with Cotter and Nason before. Once they stopped scoring, then those cracks really started to show. It wasn't really a surprise to me that we got shut out so much because of how bad our 5-on-5 scoring was.
Was it 8 or 9 times?
Yeah, 8 or 9 times. Something. It's just that was it. If the power play didn't score and we got shut out. That really just started to happen all the time. So I really think we need to find guys that are 5-on-5, goal scoring. Jared McCann's actually pretty good at that. Alex Tuck has a lot of those goals. I think Robertson's a little too power play dependent, but I wouldn't cry if we got Robertson. He's an objectively nasty hockey player.
Devils were shut out 9 times this past season, tied for second most in the league, along with the Blue Jackets. Predators were first with 10.
Damn. So one less than the Predators. That's crazy.
God, they were.
I
so
mean, you
bad.
really that is like a depressing.
It's the craziest stat that.
But I just want to put this out there: the Devils did change their system with Sheldon Keefe under Lindy Ruff and Travis Green. They were more run and gun, but still 9 shutouts is like, oh my god! But the guys have but you cannot argue they got better defensively and their goaltending also improved. That was their main focus. But I do agree with you. Their offense took too many steps back for my liking.
Yeah, I think they were like 5th in goals against for the season or something. So that was great. That was never a problem. It's always and always has been this whole past season, the 5-on-5 scoring, and that largely contributes, what the contributions from the depth guys are. And you could look at it 2 ways. Like I'll look at 2 different teams. Tampa Bay, right, was one of the top scoring teams in the league. They have 4 guys over 80 points. Then they had another guy with 59, and then another guy with 40, and then nobody over 30 points. So you could distribute scoring that way with 4 guys that just have a ton of points and everybody else is kind of there. And that's, Kucherov, Point, Gensel, and Hagel. And the thing about Hagel is he wasn't on the power play. He was the first guy in 40 years to score more than 30 goals with no power play time. 40 years. So that's how significant power play time contributes to production. Or you can look at Florida, that I think – their leading scorer, Sam Reinhart, had like 80 points. Then Barkov had 70. But they had 10 guys with over 30 points. So you could distribute the scoring a lot more across the lineup. And I think we're going to be somewhere in between those 2 models. So like when people talk about trying to bring in a big top 6 winger, they need to take into account how much they're going to get power play time and how that's going to affect their production. We can't pay a guy that's going to get 60 points, no power play one time, $12 million a year.
I fear that they're allergic to paying anyone anywhere near that kind of money at this point.
Well, the thing is, they can't really afford it. They can't really afford it because
even if they had the space, though, I just feel like I don't know, and I'm not trying to get too conspiratorial, if you will, but part of me thinks like that they're like, we'll figure out how to clear up some space and like nothing significant's going to happen because they know that one way or another they're going to have to pay Quinn Hughes. Whether he comes in free agency or they get him a little before that and then have to pay him, like, at that point, 2 years his deals? He has 2 years left.
Mm-hmm.
What would be a team friendly? What's a team friendly for Quinn Hughes in 2 years from now? 13 million, 12.5 million. Like, what would be team friendly for him in 2 years?
Well, I do want to put this out there. Andre Palat by that time will be off the books. So
there's about half of it.
Okay, so that frees it up. Also, the cap will go up next season as well for Devils. So, yeah.
I've really wanted Andre Palat off the books like last month, the month before that, the month before that, the month before that.
Would you be so? What would you say if Palat made $3 million?
Well, it's fine. Like I've up until this cap jump, the general barometer that I've always used is 10 points per $1 million. So 30 points, $3 million, 40 points, $4 million. I know it changes and varies a little bit, but I feel like that's a pretty good kind of barometer of where that's for forwards, obviously not defensemen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I actually put this out on social media back in May. Quinn Hughes will be a UFA in 2027. Here are some notable Devils players that will also be UFAs in 2027. Nico Hischier, but he's probably going to get a new contract. Let's be realistic.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Nico's not going anywhere. All right, everybody.
Oh, man, you're one of those too, Tim? Oh, man.
Andre Palat will also be off the books, and Brendan Dillon will be off the books. 3 years, $12 million. All
right.
For Nico and Quinn, though, that's going to be,
and that's why, and for that reason, that's why the Devils cannot sign Luke Hughes to a bridge deal.
Yeah. Well, the last thing they can do is walk him to free agency the same year that Jack does. What is that, in like 4 or 5 years?
I think he has 5 years left.
Like the clock is ticking on this team. Like
the clock's been ticking.
Well, I get it, but we're at like midnight hour now. And it's not just about like Nico's contract expiring. I think he's going to resign. It's about his age. Like the peak for forwards in hockey is 23 to 28. He's 27 years old. Brat's 27 years old. Teemo's 29.
I respectfully disagree. I think Nico's going to play at a high level for years to come. Like
that's fine, but like I'm saying, like their peak offensive years, it's historically been proven. I know this for a fact that it's usually around that 23 to 28. There are some outliers. Nico could be an outlier, but
I think Nico will be an out. Nico is 26 right now. He's
turns 27 January 4th.
Yeah, I think Nico is going to put up some good numbers from 5 to 10 years from now.
But he will be peaking this year, next year, and the year after, and then it will start to kind of slowly decline. That's my point.
What do you think about that, Ace?
Now, I believe that Tim's research is he's definitely more of the research type than I am, but typically, if I just had to ballpark in my head, like when is a guy's best chance to win or their highest seasons, I would have said like probably 26 to 30.
It could be.
You do see outliers, but it's not like he's putting up a million points, right? I mean, he's averaging the past few seasons a little over 70 points, call it, which is nothing to sneeze at. But at some point, those numbers probably will get closer to 50, right?
Barkov put up 71 points last season. I think we really kind of need to understand what these guys are actually scoring around the league. Like we look at Barkov and it's just like, oh, he's this mythical creature from the South. And it's just like, he's great. He put up 70 points. He's also like 6'4", 240 or something ridiculous.
Or look at what Brad Marchand did in the playoffs for the.
I wanted him bad.
Yeah, and he's in his late 30s.
Yeah, no, like I said, there are certainly outliers. Marchand's not going to be doing that. I don't think when he's 40. If he is, let's send a fucking fist up down there.
No, but I think the point is like you don't want to wait till guys are actually 30 before you're like, these guys are getting kind of old. Like, let's get serious about winning. I think,
it needs to be now.
There. They're ready to win now.
And that's why free agent contracts almost historically age badly because
how many
by the time they get to their free agent contract, they're already 29 and then they're lengthy into their 30s.
How many years did it take for Alexander Ovechkin to get his first cup? His first and only cup, most likely.
I think it was 11 or 12
11 or 12 years, but he was 30.
Came in the league young.
30, 32, yeah. I don't know. He's also Russian, so they're on the Russian gas, so that's a little different.
He is a freak of nature.
No, Trey, your point is taken. There are absolutely going to be outliers. And honestly, with the way guys take care of their bodies now, I may be kind of thinking about the sort of 80s and 90s when these guys would have a beer and a smoke after a game. But it usually that's like kind of their peak athleticism.
Well, only time will tell. We'll just have to wait.
You also brought up another good point about a second year in Keefe's system, and it was very much a drastic difference. And I think, Trey, it was one of your interviews where maybe it was one of yours. I'm not sure. But it was the conversation was generally about how the guys were kind of shell-shocked a little bit in camp last year when Keefe came in and just kind of the way he ran things relative to Lindy and Travis.
I think I mentioned how Travis Green is a really tough coach, and it's been reported that guys have thrown up during training camp when Travis Green is in charge. I do know that Travis Green was in charge of the Devils training camp a few years ago. Like he was the one running it, and he's known for being a tough coach.
And guys literally puked.
I that's what I heard. I can't confirm or deny that. That's just what I heard.
Come on, Trey. Come on.
If I knew that, I would keep him here. Man,
I did that in beer league on Saturday. We only have 7 guys.
Yeah, look, if you push someone to the limits and it's so much so fast.
Yeah. They're actually in the new CBA. I think they took a lot of that stuff out where they're not going to be able to do stuff like Tortorella has like a rope test that he does during training camp. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but the guys basically have to do laps. has something to do with a rope in between two nets. But now that was made illegal under the new CBA. That's going to be in effect in a couple of years.
You probably can't demand to look at players' phones either, right? As a result of
I think that was frowned upon before this new CBA.
Look, I don't know what Mike Babcock was thinking, but he had such a short leash, like very short.
It's crazy that he did that. It's crazy that he did that.
I mean, you're not going to be given the benefit of the doubt. You're already referred to as a predator by some of your previous players. They don't like you. So
yeah, like the
shit. I don't even remember the specifics. What did he ask for the guy's phone and then just started like showing the whole group his photos or something? It was something weird, right?
He was. I think off the top of my head, I think he was like having one-on-one meetings with some of the players, and he had asked, and he had like a smart TV in his office, and he had asked the players to like show a picture of their family on the TV screen or something, and one of the players actually went to Spittin' Chicklets about it, and Spittin' Chicklets reported it, and as a result, an investigation had to be done. And I think they determined like, hey, that's not appropriate. You can't do that. I'm sure there was more to it than what was being reported at face, but he claimed that he just wanted them to show pictures of his family and say like, yeah, that's who you're playing for or something like that. But I think there was something else just like that made players uncomfortable. Just like, no.
But it's just his background of kind of, what he did to Mitch Marner in Toronto, like when he made a list of like who the shittiest players on the team is or something like that. And like to Trey's point, it's like you can't do that when you have the reputation that you have. You just can't.
Or Mike Commodore when he was with the Red Wings.
Oh, Commodore hates him.
Yeah. Commodore called them a predator because I think Commodore claimed that he was in shape, and I guess Babcock made him do like a fat test to determine, and then Mike Babcock just called him out in front of the whole team. And I'm just like, no. Again,
I know Commodore hates him. I don't remember the origin of it.
Yeah, I mean, that could be, like I said, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head.
It was something like that.
Commodore does not like him. Called him out on social media as soon as he got fired. Mike, such a shame. Mike Babcock is a Stanley Cup winning coach with the Red Wings.
He also cost Mike Modano 1,500 games played too.
Oh yeah, he did.
He scratched him. The stories that have come out about him being a scumbag really are like, you're like, wow. And it's kind of, I'm sure there's tons of coaches that have stories that never come out, but a guy like him, it just seems like people kind of relish in sharing the stories of him being a dirtbag. And yeah, Modano 1,500 games played. It's a terrible one.
That's just a shitty move.
Horrible.
The way I see it, if you want to be sort of a hard ass, it needs to come from a good place. Like you genuinely care about the person. So like John Tortorella.
Yes.
John Tortorella is harsh, but it comes from a good place because he will go to bat for his players. Remember the Kevin Hayes situation where it was rumored that Kevin Hayes told Cutter Gauthier not to play with the Flyers, and Tortorella lit up that reporter and said, yeah, don't ever say things like that again, or that's BS. And Tortorella also called out Larry Brooks when he was with the Rangers. Tortorella cares about his players.
I love Larry Brooks.
Yeah.
Just because he didn't care.
Every guy, like you listen to interviews on Spittin' Chicklets or other podcasts, like every guy that's played for Tortorella, like universally has good things to say about him after the fact. They say it was tough at the time, but after the fact that like he taught me so much about how to succeed in this league, how to be a man, all that, and yada, yada, yada.
He's the guy I always wanted the Devils to get. All right, so I'm going to start with Trey here. Next, the 25-26 season will be a success for the Devils if blank.
If they make it past the first round. And
first round.
If they're I'm sorry, but like
I understand why you're saying it. I mean, I get it. So make it to the second round, and that's a win.
Look. They're going to make the playoffs. Barring anything catastrophic happening, they're going to make the playoffs. Metro's not that strong. they're going to be fine in terms of the positioning. But when it comes to the playoffs, can they meet? I saw what you posted on social media, Ace. Can they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals? I really don't know. It seems like they just have the same team from last year with Connor Brown replacing Eric Haula and taking a flyer on Evgeny Dodonov. It's rumored to be that this is going to be Dodonov's final year. That's just a rumor. I think Frank Saravelli said it, but we'll see what happens. It just seems like this is the same team from last year with just minor adjustments and different players just taking on somebody's old role. Like there was nothing that made me jump out of my seat, if that makes sense.
Oh, it definitely makes sense. I think what was the quote? We're not going to come back with the same team next year. It wasn't good enough or whatever. And a lot of people were like, yeah, it's a rallying cry. We're going to get all, but like you said, it's just like, okay, yeah, technically it's not the same team, but it's by and large the same team.
He did it by default by just not re-signing guys.
Yeah, the addition by subtraction.
So Tomas Tatar, Nathan Bastian, Justin
Dowling, Lazar.
Curtis Lazar, Brian Dumoulin. I kind of like Dumoulin. I'm sad.
He had a very good playoff for sure.
I honestly, if we had a way to send Dylan out and get Dumoulin in that spot, I think that is something to consider. Even though I love Dylan. You brought up Frank Saravelli's funniest comment from him today that I saw on Twitter regarding the Connor McDavid extension. This is pure spitball. I believe it will be somewhere between 16 and 17.5 million on a 4-year deal. Could be anywhere from 2 to 8. I don't think they've ruled out 8. 4 years might be the sweet spot. It's like, thanks, Frank. Thanks for
any
that.
Possibility whatsoever. It's somewhere between.
It's somewhere between a lot and a little, and 8 years, 2 years.
Anywhere from 2 to 8 years. I can report that.
I know. Trey, you should start throwing bullshit out on the internet like that. Like Luke's deal is going to be anywhere from 2 to 7 years, and it could be anywhere from 6 million to 9 million, depending on the amount of years. But it could also be in the middle. Could be a bridge deal. Could not be a bridge deal. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
Look, I don't want to be an insider. I don't want to. I don't want that kind of pressure. I'll let other people do that. That's not my role.
What's the mark for a good season, Tim?
Eastern Conference Finals.
So you got to win 2 rounds.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
we got to get. Look, I honestly, Stanley Cup's the goal. Okay, I mean that should always be the goal. We were a once proud, great franchise, and we've struggled to get back to that. But realistically, we need to get to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. Quite frankly, I don't think Carolina's that good. We have to get through them. They're going to be ahead of us in the Metro, but I don't think they're that good.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I'm not going to say that. Would you say they're not that good? They just own us, man. They just own us.
They're another team like Florida that they have 12 guys, I think, that had over 30 points, but our high-end talent is better than theirs. Our special teams is better than theirs. I think our goaltending is better than theirs. I think our decor is on par with theirs. It's kind of a wild card. What happens with Nikishin and Keandre Miller sliding in there? I think that may be a good signing for them. I don't know. But they did all this stuff last year with Rantanen, and they wound up with kind of the same thing. They have Ehlers instead of Natchez, and, like Taylor Hall a year later. But their center depth is still Aho, and Jack and Nico clear him. Then Jesper Kotkaniemi, and then Eric Stahl, who's like 57 years old. So it's like at some point, like, I just don't think they're that good. Let me live in my fucking world over here and think that they're not that good. All right.
Look, to each their own, but the last 2 times the Devils have appeared in the playoffs, the Hurricanes have sent them packing. The Hurricanes seem to elevate their game against the Devils.
All right. So we did lose that series 4-1. I understand that.
Look, the Devils, unfortunately, we knew what was going to happen. The Devils were just depleted.
I was still holding out hope.
I mean, I was going to bring my gear up to the Rock and be like, "Hey, you need someone to play D."
Honestly, that wouldn't have been a bad idea. But
Dennis Cholowski.
And who was coming back from injury? It was Dougie and Jonas, and they were tasked with big minutes. Yeah. That was a lot to ask from them, but they were troopers. But
thank God Nemec stepped up. But we lost that series because we didn't score a power play goal and our penalty kill sucked. We outscored them at 5-on-5.
Did you see that PK had the Devils going to the Eastern Conference Finals on his bracket?
God bless PK, man. He's our biggest fan in the media. He's always going to root for the Devils. I love PK.
I love it.
Total legend. He was here for not even that long, and he ups the Devils any opportunity he gets, and I think he'll continue to do that for the rest of his, which probably will be a very long, broadcasting career. And good for him, man. He's probably loving life probably more so than when he was playing. He's probably getting paid good money. He doesn't have to do all the bullshit.
Apartment. He gets to wear awesome shit all the time. He gets to bust Messier's balls all day. I would love to have that job.
Look, PK, great ambassador for the Devils. Unfortunately, not the nicest guy I've met.
Really?
Yeah.
What do share?
Right,
you have a bad
just throw that out there.
And you have a bad run-in with him?
Not really, but it's just like I met him at the draft in 2024 in Vegas. I said, PK, it's nice to meet you. You're one of the reasons I got into hockey. I played NHL 19 all the time because you were on the cover. He was like, oh, yeah, cool. And I was like, I would love to have you on my show. He was like, oh, yeah, just contact my agent. Didn't give me a number. Didn't give me an email. It's just a polite fuck off. Or, when I saw him at Four Nations again, tried talking to him in the hallway, and he was like, hey man, I gotta go do a hit for ESPN. Like, he talks about how it means the world to him when he sees people who idolized him and got into hockey because of him, because representation is important. I myself am African American, and I idolize him because he's African Canadian. But it's just he wasn't really the warmest person, and it's not like he just like ignored me or told me to like go away, but he didn't seem to care that I looked up to him and got into hockey because of him.
And you hit him with I got into hocky because of you?
Yes, I told him I played.
That's like a real never, that's a real never meet your hero story.
I know, like I always liked him, and like oh man, with your story there, that's definitely some points down for me. Damn.
I mean, in Vegas, he could have been tripping his face off, so we gotta give him that one. But to do it twice, and it's like, hey, another black guy, like what the fuck, like come on, like you've seen me twice, like, this, like
So look, I'm not saying he's a jerk or anything. I'm not saying that at all. But of all the people I've met, like I've met some high end people, he wasn't exactly the warmest. He
was dismissive.
Yes.
Well, now you're in the gutter with me and Ace, so
that's unfortunate. I only actually met him once and like talked to him for like a very brief couple seconds, and he seemed fine. But I mean, I don't know. I don't want to make excuses for guys, but it does seem like.
Look, hey, Jack in the comments. I'm not saying he has to be my best friend. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying is like, hey, I got into hockey because of him, and he could have just
Did you find his agent and send the agent a note?
Nope. No, I did not. But again,
he was dead to Trey after the second time. He's like,
look, Tim.
That's just sit down right now.
Look, Tim. That's just a polite no. It's a polite no. That when someone he says like, just contact my agent, because his agent's not going to get back to me.
I mean, that's how Ace got me on the show. He hit up my agent.
Yeah, I hit up Tim's agent, and I was like, "Listen, Tim's the reason I got into hockey." Man, that's really, and I hate when I hear stories like that. But not every guy. Listen, it's their prerogative to be that way, and more times than not, I'm sure you could attest, Trey. Lots of hockey guys are very accommodating and super friendly.
Oh yeah. Like
I got to duck out and duck back in. I froze.
Like, Stefan Nason, my favorite guy to interview. I love Stefan. Stefan always makes time for me. He knows me by name. He's the only player to address me by name, which I love a lot. And
really,
yeah, he if you were to ask Nico, do you know Trey? He'd probably look at you confused. But if you showed Nico a picture of me, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, I know him."
Yeah.
But if you were to ask Stefan, "Do you know Trey?"
Right.
He'd say yes. But also, I know Stefan's wife personally too, so that kind of helps.
Yeah, Stefan seems like he's like the kind of the social coordinator. They always say that like he has like I remember one video where they're like talking about who has the best parties on the team. And they're all like Nason.
Nason's a father of 2 now. So
no, I know, but like he has like the families and the team and family guys all over his house.
Yeah, you're right about that. They do go over to his house because
not the kids that live in Jersey City. No.
Right, yeah, he's a veteran player. He knows he had to do it when he was a younger guy too. So yeah, he gets it. And plus, he also brought this up. A lot of the star players on the Devils, they don't have kids. They don't have that home life. They don't have families like Jack, Nico, Jesper, Dougie, Teemo. They don't have kids. So
it is crazy. All the cup-winning teams were mostly veterans that did have families. I was thinking about this the other day, and it's like, yeah, in terms of winning now, right? A lot of people are like, oh, you can't trade picks or young guys. Like, I'm 100% on win now. Everyone knows that. And I'm like, trade your foreseeable first-round picks. Trade a guy like Nemitz or Casey. Listen, it would sting to lose either one of them. I think Nemitz obviously a little bit more. But at some point, you can't keep looking at the cupboard of assets and being like, oh, the future is bright. We've been hearing it forever. It's time to put maybe not all the chips, but a good amount of the chips in the middle and try to win now.
I wonder if Fitz is snake bit because he did like Teemo was supposed to be his finishing move. And that kind of hasn't totally panned out, I think, the way he wants. I love Teemo, but
in what way though?
I wonder if he's a little snake bitten from having dumped so many assets into that deal.
But what did we really lose of substance, really?
No, we didn't. But at the time, Zetterlund, Mook Madulin,
Madulin is, I think, out of the league, isn't he? Isn't he overseas? Isn't Shakir Mukamadulin? Isn't he overseas now?
Is he? I thought it was in the AHL and got like a couple of games last season.
Either way,
it's not gonna. I know, but like at the time, they were, Zetterlund, I think, was pretty well thought of. I imagine he probably tried to dump Holtz in that trade, but couldn't get it done.
All right, well, if you could go back in time, would you undo the trade?
Yes, because what the Devils they needed more physicality at that time, and Teemo brought it. The Devils don't win that first series.
I know. I said, would you undo the trade? So you're saying no.
Undo.
Yeah,
Okay.
You would. You're saying I would redo the trade.
Yes, I would do it again.
As would I. What did we lose? To me, there was
no. It's yeah. I'm not saying we lost anything, but I feel like he's that has got Fitz in a more conservative mindset because that hasn't totally worked out, and he's kind of like I said before, like I think GMs really do kind of worry about job security, and like we know that our ownership is more worried about kissing Trump's ass and building a new stadium and buying Jalen Daniels rookie cards than the Devils.
Veering off course a little bit. Tyler Toffoli, do you think because remember, the Devils traded away Yegor Sharangovich to get Tyler Toffoli, and Toffoli ended up being a few-month rental because they couldn't come to an agreement on an extension. So Fitzy had to trade Toffoli and Colin Miller to the Jets at the deadline.
You go first, Tim.
No, you go first.
Me? So my whole thing on that is I have been nothing in my mind has changed. After that 22-23 season, I was like, you just set a franchise record. We beat the Rangers in 7 games. This team needs to win now. Win now. And they traded Sharangovich. People bitched about it at the time, and I applaud it. That getting to Foley for that team was the ultimate win now move. Now people
he led the team in goal scoring.
Want to do Monday morning quarterback and then trace the thing afterwards. Cool. That's your prerogative. But in the end, I was all about the trade when we made it. Toffoli did fit in, I thought, pretty well. Was he, the greatest addition ever? No, but he was a legit top 6 scorer that played well with Jack. And it's unfortunate the team sank. I guess now a lot of people, again, with hindsight, are like, oh, we should have just paid him and blah, blah, blah. I personally, and I was vocal about this at the time, did not want to pay him $6 million or, I think most people kind of had a range or at least a speculation of what he was going to be looking for. And I thought it wasn't worth paying him the $6 million. Put that towards, maybe a slightly younger, faster top 6 guy. But, if you use that $6 million and maybe get a guy at that point who was $7 or $8 million, I thought that would have been a better usage. It obviously was disappointing that somehow we couldn't get a first rounder for him at the deadline, which I was a little bit surprised by. I thought we were definitely going to get a first rounder. So it sucks when, Sharon Govich, I'm not crying over that loss. Like he had that one good year and he was trying to get paid. They gave him the money and then he kind of fell off a cliff. Who knows where his career is going to end up? I'm sure he'll be okay. But I'm not heartbroken by the loss of him. It just sucked that we got to Foley, win now move. The team fell apart. And then they're like, well, we're not going to come to terms with him. So short window rental for him. And then we cash him in for a second rounder. And then the biggest thing of the whole kind of string there is that, okay, we moved on from Toffoli, but then the top 6 spot was never filled. And I think that was the grave mistake, that Fitz made, where there was no other top 6 guy brought in. And here we are still talking about it right now.
Yeah, no, I get it. I think both moves were the right moves. Did not mind giving up Sharon Govich. You got to give to get. And like Ace just said, like we were in a position where we wouldn't have been able to extend him. Like he was probably going to command too much money. It is unfortunate that he's the piece that we kind of need now. Like I honestly, I think a right-handed sniper for Jack's wing would be like a pure just fucking shooter like Toffoli. I don't give a shit if he like is out there in sneakers. But then Toffoli then probably takes that Nason spot on the power play, and then Nason gets bumped back down, and our bottom 6 sucks again. I don't know. It's there are iterations to all of these things that are problematic, and Fitz has been. Look, I know everybody's down on Fitz and is looking at him, but he has been also a victim of some pretty awful marketplaces. Like if you look at the juxtaposition between the two different trade deadlines, when he got rid of Toffoli for a second, last season's trade deadline, he probably could have got like 2 firsts and a prospect for him, like the Brock Nelson deal. Like he's been a victim of the marketplace at the time, and unfortunately, he has to operate within the marketplace at the time. Same with this summer. Absolutely nothing is happening. Nothing.
Yeah, because Florida retained most of their players, or no, all of their players.
Yeah, Florida right now is going to be the only team that's over the cap. They're $3.7 million over the cap. However, they're probably going to put Tkachuk on LTIR and kick that can down the road. Montreal's over the cap, but they can put Carey Price on LTIR. And then there's one other team that's over the cap that's escaping me right now. I don't know, Trey, if Dallas is actually looking to get out of money, but I think the Robertson thing's more about his impending upcoming contract. I don't know why they would get rid of him unless they get bounced from the playoffs again.
So what I heard at the time, and I did an episode on it. Remember, they signed Mikko Rantanen to a lengthy contract, and they're probably looking to save some extra money. And with Robertson being a pending UFA, I believe, after this upcoming season, I don't think they can retain him. So it's just like you might want to trade him now and get some sort of value for him, because you're going to go in the direction of Mikko Rantanen. Yeah,
but I think like with money,
they're looking for a right-handed defenseman. So some people were putting out the idea Shimo Nemitz for Jason Robertson.
No, I get all that. I just don't see why if in 2 years the cap's going to be $110 million, why that becomes a problem for Dallas, unless they just don't want Robertson. I do know they have some right-handed defenseman depth issues. That I think they're running Heiskanen out on the right side and Harley as well. I think they have like 5 lefties on D.
Harley's such a beast.
Harley's nasty. He's such a good hockey player. And I'm with Ace on this. I'm a huge advocate of keeping Dougie. I actually write for All About the Jersey, and I'm about to put out a blog on why it's actually was the correct decision not to get rid of him and continues to be the correct decision for this upcoming year. Like, Trey, do you know, like, what happened to Kovacevic? Like, have you gotten a sign of life from him? Like, blink twice, Johnny, if you can hear me.
Here's the situation with Kovacevic. He sustained a big time injury during the playoffs, and now he's going to be out to start the season. So he's going to have to rehab in the AHL before he returns to the NHL. And I was talking with Jim Behringer about it of Full Press Hockey. We think that he could be out until maybe December or January. That's just speculation on our end.
No, I I have that same speculation. It's going to be longer than people are thinking it's going to be.
That's why we're thinking that Kovacevic is going to go on the LTIR. He's going to have to make a rehab stint in the AHL before he comes back to the NHL. But basically, Kovacevic is, and Fitzy confirmed this, he's not going to be ready to start the season. Just no way.
Right. So that was actually the main reason why I think getting rid of Dougie this summer for this upcoming season would have been a real problem, because if you look at, like, Nemec is great, like I'm a big believer in him, but he has a top 4 ceiling and an AHL floor. And Casey, for as wonderful as he was extremely lucky. Like I think the
you don't think he's going to shoot? He's going to shoot 25%.
He's not going to shoot 25%, and goalies aren't going to have a .950 save percentage when he's on the ice. He was underwater on almost every metric. Both him and Nemec, their expected goals were in like the 30s. I know you don't like that, but that's kind of an indicator of how much you're controlling your ice, and it was fucking terrible. Yeah, high danger chances, scoring chances, shots against, they're all well underwater, both of them. You can't run that out on our right side.
Nemec too.
But like I said, that was his regular season. I didn't look at his playoff numbers. That was his regular season. I think we get closer to the playoff guy, but there will probably be games where we get that AHL level caliber Nemec.
I'm scarred by it. Just from him and Luke a couple of years ago. People forget, like, people, even Luke, what does he have? Like 200 games in the league? People talk like, I love Luke. I think he's going to be a beast, but people like, trade Dougie, send Dougie anywhere, and these kids are going to take over. And I'm like, you don't remember? No one learned from relying heavily on young defensemen from a couple years ago.
Yeah,
we're like, whoa.
We were also bottom 5 in goals from a D corp. Kovacevic had 1. Siegenthaler had 2. Casey had 4. He's not going to shoot 25%. Like, we need Dougie just for his offense, and we need everybody else to step it the fuck up and score more.
Yeah, so when people are saying get rid of Dougie, I'm just like, as proven the past couple of years, the Devils are not a better team when Dougie is out. That's just the reality of it. Now, I'm not saying he's a two-way defenseman, but Kovacevic had more giveaways than Dougie. But yet, why don't people give Kovacevic that same amount of slander? Why is he giving a slap on the wrist?
People count people's money. That's what it comes down to.
Exactly. Look, I think it's just the contract, but the reality of it is the Devils would not be in the position that they're in without Dougie Hamilton. He was the first domino piece to fall a few off seasons ago when he decided to sign with the Devils. He put the Devils back on the map in terms of being a hot spot destination for notable players, I would argue. So that had to happen. But Dougie has one of the best slap shots in the entire league. The numbers show it. Dougie is not a bad defenseman. He's just not. He's not the worst defenseman either. I get it. People just like magnify his mistakes, but it's just like he's not like. I think people just read too far into it.
Well, because this is the eye test versus analytics debate in a microcosm of that debate. If you look at Dougie's analytics, they're great, especially offensively. And you know what? He's actually gotten faster. His top speed based on NHL Edge he's gotten faster every year he's been here. His speed bursts from 18 to 20 and 20 to 22 have been basically the same every year. So he's not losing a step. Biggest problem with Dougie is he can't stay healthy. He's had 3 bizarro freak injuries. But I'd much rather run into this season. I don't care how much the guy makes. We need him, and we need him to produce. But I'd much rather run into the season with Dougie and the potential for him to get hurt than run in with Nemec and Casey on the right side. And if one of them gets hurt, I mean, that's Dennis Cholowski on his offsides music. That is Kalen Addison, who hasn't stepped foot in the NHL for 2 years. So our defensive depth without Dougie suddenly gets a little bit not so deep.
Yeah, and with Kovacevic out, there's still a big hole that the Devils have to fill. And if you just take Dougie out the equation, you're just making it worse. Devils are not a better team without Dougie. I don't know who needs to hear that.
Yeah, and the defensive issues are overstated. He loses his gap control sometimes and kind of goes a little bit walkabout in the defensive zone, but they're noticeable when he makes a mistake, and that's the problem. And that's what people remember with the eye test. They're like, remember that time that Dougie, didn't catch up to Matthew Knives when we got shut out by Toronto and Stolarz had a 40 save shutout, and the one goal was because Dougie couldn't get back because of a pinch. So people remember that, but they don't remember that 95% of the time when he's pinching, he actually does a good job and actually prolongs ozone time.
Yeah.
How many haters do I have in the comment section?
I haven't been looking at them.
Yeah.
Comment sections are always a mixed bag. I wanted to circle back to something Trey said. And a lot of people feel this way too. Everyone's like, oh, Dougie was the first guy that, came here and all this stuff. I have to disagree. I don't think that he was like dying to come to New Jersey, but $9 million, what was that, 4 years ago, whatever it was? That was a shitload of money. I have to believe we crushed every other offer, and he was like, yeah, I'll go anywhere for that contract. And then it's like, in terms of New Jersey becoming a destination, like who did we really get that was some coveted guy after that? Really nobody.
Yeah, people like have this trades and kind of
people, but a lot of people think like, oh, like I wish New Jersey was a destination. I honestly feel it's quite the opposite at this point. Like you're just kind of a middle of the pack team. You could kind of sell the New York metro area and the beaches and all this, but like in the end, after him, there really was no like.
We couldn't even get the guy that's from the fucking state.
Which one are you talking about?
Johnny Gaudreau.
Oh yeah.
Well,
supposedly.
First and foremost, may God rest his soul. And
of course, yes, obviously.
Happy belated birthday to Johnny. But just to go off that, Ace, yeah, the Devils were in the running for Johnny Gaudreau. They were also in the running for Alex DeBrincat. There was also
if we're going to talk about in the running, you know how many chicks I was in the running for? It's like coulda, woulda, shoulda, like almost doesn't count. Horseshoes and hand grenades. You get the guy or you don't. That's it.
If you fail if you fail seven times out of 10 in baseball, you're going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, 300 batting average. Yeah, but for free agents, I mean, I guess, since then, what would be the guy that had the most, I guess, other teams interested? I don't even know. Would it have been Pesci,
maybe Bratt and Teemo re-signing?
I can't count re-signs. Probably Pesci, and it's like a great player, but it wasn't. It's not like we landed Marner.
Yeah, I mean, that contract's probably not going to age all that great either. I love Pesci. He's an absolute warrior, but the way what that guy does to his body.
No, for sure. He eats, I mean, what is he, 5.5? Yeah, I mean, with the cap going up, I think that'll be a pretty good bargain.
I'm just sorry, he's going to be like a hobbled old man in like 2 years with the amount of shots that he blocks.
Look at the Kevin Ball extension that he signed with the
Flames. Wild.
Mm-hmm. And that Kovacevic contract looks better and better.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I love Kovacevic. I think he was a great find, and Fitz has pulled those rabbits out of his hat, those little finds like that a few times. And hopefully he did the same with Dadonov and Brown. Like people, look at Brown's numbers over his past couple of years and they're like, oh, he's not that great. But he also had spent a year, and this is what I'm worried about Kovacevic. He's spent a year recovering from a torn ACL. He tore his ACL 4 games into his season in Washington, and then wasn't really fully recovered until maybe December for the Oilers for his first year back. And he had 4 goals that year. This past year, he had 13. So he's getting better. He's getting back to himself. But he's a beautiful ginger, that guy.
He's played with a lot of big name players, including Alex Ovechkin, Austin Matthews, Brady Tkachuk. He and Connor McDavid go way back to the Erie Otters during their OHL days. So Connor Brown's been around the block before.
Yeah, we just did a welcome to New Jersey session on the Uncle Puckers, and my assignment was Connor Brown. He had 128 points for the Erie Otters playing with McDavid. That's insane.
Wow. And how many games?
I don't know. I think they played like 60 games, maybe.
Yep.
That's a lot.
The CHL produces a lot of NHL prospects. Or you look at Matthew Schaefer. He first overall pick in this year's draft, also Erie Otters.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, Trey, you're gonna be following Keevan pretty closely. You're an ASU guy, right?
Yep. I actually reached out to our SID to see if he can do an interview. I think he's actually, I don't know if it's him or his dad, but I saw on my subscriber list, I think he subscribed to my show.
All right. That's cool. He's,
I'm really hoping he can thrive under Greg Powers' system. But that's what I'm hoping for, because I do want the Devils to sign him to an entry-level contract.
I forgot what I was just listening to, but they were talking about Penn State versus Arizona State from a hockey perspective, not a school perspective. I don't get defensive. But how Arizona State kind of, they were the ones that went from club team to D1 before Penn State did, but Penn State obviously just made the Frozen Four. But if I were a college hockey player now, like if when I played college hockey, if I had known Arizona State had a team, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'm going to go sit in a lazy river and then go play hockey. What are you fucking kidding me? Like, I don't understand why they don't just go to like northern Alberta and be like, show them pictures of palm trees and blondes, and are just like, hey, come to Arizona State. Isn't
that where Mario Lemieux's kid went, right?
Yeah.
He played there?
Yeah. Same with and Shane Doan, too.
Actually, both of Scott Niedermayer's boys played on ASU's hockey team.
Right now?
Not right now. I think they graduated, but yeah, we had both the Niedermayer brothers on the roster.
Really?
Let's see. I actually told Scott Niedermayer that when I saw him at development camp a few seasons ago.
My God, the one kid looks kind of like him. I'm looking at a picture of him.
Yes, Josh and Jackson Niedermayer. They played for ASU.
Yeah, this is shit that makes me feel super old. We're talking about players I watched as a kids graduating college. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. This is the 30th anniversary of this tournament in Boston called Hockey Night in Boston. I was on this team Mid-Atlantic.
Hold on. Michael Russell, you are absolutely correct. You are correct about the light rail. Yes.
What is that? Don't leave this is at Arizona State?
Yes. Don't leave the campus area. The homeless are all over the light rail.
Did you carry
Don't show pictures of homeless guys to the.
Did you carry a shank, Trey? You carry a shank around just in case?
No, I did not.
I'm actually I remember seeing, I think it was a video of maybe Arizona State's facilities or whatever. I forget where. Maybe even Chicklets. They do like a college series.
Chicklets, yeah.
It is interesting how, and it seems like recent times that hockey at a lot of schools has kind of caught up to, more, I guess, mostly probably football, I guess. Kind of like, facilities and things of that nature. Like football teams always had the state-of-the-art stuff and blah, blah, blah. But it seems like some of the hockey programs have boosters or whoever's footing the bill for these extravagant build-outs. And with the NIL money, what did they pay? McKenna's going to Penn State.
$700,000
in the ballpark of $750,000.
But the Pigulas built like a beautiful facility there. Like that's what you need for that. Once the SEC catches wind of hockey, like it's going to be insane. Like they have club hockey down there. Like I have a friend whose kid plays for Florida club hockey, and he played like AAA up here. Like, and he was really good. So the hockey's getting better. It's pretty good. I think Georgia has a brand new facility that they share with a minor league hockey team. So I'm excited for college hockey. And I think now with the new CHL NCAA agreement, I think there's going to be a lot of new windows opening up. I think the one league that may see some issues is the USHL out of all of it.
We call at ASU, we say it's the house at Mullet Arena. We say it's the house that Joey Decord built, even though Decord never played a game at Mullet Arena prior to playing with the Kraken. Joey Decord really put the Sun Devils on the map when they were first being introduced as an NCAA team. So to your point, Tim, yes, one person, one thing can make a huge, huge difference.
Wasn't Heat Daddy? Did he play like the Division II down there or something like that? Rob Gucci? No.
Look at something you said.
Not on your radar. Never mind.
No, I was about to ask who that guy is, but Decord, I think his father.
Yep.
He works he's the goalie coach for Big Mike, right? At BU?
Yep, you are correct. I actually requested to do an interview with Brian Decord when I went to BU. I think around the same time you went, Ace, during Four Nations. Unfortunately, he wasn't available. But yes, Brian Decord is the father of Joey Decord.
That
was a really good interview with Yegorov, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So it's my next question was going to be, I'll start with Trey. Prospect. Now we're looking a little bit beyond prospect. You're most excited about?
Well, it's got to be Mike Yegorov and Ben Keevan.
Are all three of us going to have the same answer?
No.
Probably. It's got to be Mike Yegorov because look, the Lancers play-by-play announcer in the USHL, he said that Yegorov can sort of be an heir to Martin Brodeur. Not his words, not mine. But I'm excited for Yegorov. I think he was an underrated get for Fitzgerald because remember, the Devils originally did not have a second-round pick. They traded away John Marino to Utah to get that second-round pick and select Yegorov, who was the number 1 ranked goalie in North America at the time. So I think Yegorov, I'm really excited to see how he fares. And that dude is a giant, standing 6'6" in between the pipes.
Something ridiculous. Yeah, the funniest thing. Well, he also he seems like just like such an awesome dude, and like he integrated so well with that BU team so quickly, and like their dog pound and jumping up into it. I'm jumping up into the glass after wins. But one of the funniest things about him was during a BU game they posted his class schedule, and it was like it was like calculus. And
I tweeted that.
Was that you? What was What was the one where everybody started calling him a Russian spy? It was like
Homeland
Security. Yeah, everybody's like, "Oh no, he's a Russian spy."
Yeah.
I think Lenny Haminaho is going to be an awesome Devil. I think he's going to surprise people this camp. I think he's going to start in the AHL, but I think he's going to surprise people. He has such a polished game. He's such a good finisher. And just plays like such a thorough game. I'm really, really excited to see what this kid can do.
What percent chance do you think because he was a guy I thought just because of what the competition is, has a decent chance, or at least a chance of some kind, to start on the Devils roster if he has a good camp in preseason, just because there does seem like there's at least a couple spots that could be plucked from somebody else.
Yeah, honestly, I try and run through what are the lines even going to look like, and I keep running into a brick wall. I do kind of think they're going to go with some pairs like Nico, Teemo, Jack Bratt. Is Glass our 3C? Are they going to run Mercer there?
I think it's going to be Daily Faceoff is predicting for Mercer to be the third line center and Glass to be the fourth line center. I'm okay with Glass being a fourth line center, but Mercer, I would much rather him be a winger. And
Mercer seems to be at his best when he's a top 6 winger. I'd be fine with that. I think Mercer, has 25 goals, 30 assists ceiling. I think that's kind of what he's going to be. I was okay with Glass as a 3C primarily because of his defensive metrics. So if you built out a purely defensive shutdown line, of Glass, Palat, and Brown, and say, hey, you go take Aho, you go take JT Miller, you go take McDavid, and that frees up a lot of Nico's time to really cook offensively. I'm toying with that in my head. I have no idea what they're going to do, but it kind of, it feels like we need more forwards, but we have an extra guy that's going to kind of miss slot stuff. And that extra guy's initials are OP.
Andre Palat.
You got it.
I hope Mercer has a big season. But once I forget again who asked him or whatever, but I think it was after the exit day or whatever. I'm pretty sure he straight up said, he was like, I prefer to play wing. That's all I need to hear. Once a guy says that, I understand you might have to put him at center because of, lack of center depth. But if a guy says that, I'm like, all right, that's enough for me to be like, I want this guy to play where he's most comfortable. And if that's at wing, then so be it. I don't want to push him to center just because we don't have enough legit centers. And so I do hope that somehow that gets figured out. But at this point, I do think there's at least a decent chance We see him at center.
Trey, if you get a chance to ask Fitz or or Sheldon, like in camp, like, hey, what's the plan for the center depth? Like, what are you gonna do? Is Juho gonna be our 4C? Like, is he even a real person?
Oh, Lamico.
I think Ryan Novozinski or James Nichols will beat me to it.
All right, fair enough. How do you feel about Novo being back?
Welcome back, Novo. You are dearly missed.
There you go.
That's all I'm going to say. He was dearly missed. No disrespect to his original successor, but this had to happen.
Lamico, if he's on the opening night roster, I think we're headed for Dangerville.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a couple teams were interested in him. He had a really good season. I realize the Swiss League is like the fourth.
Dude, when was the last time we played in the NHL? Like 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah, but
I'm supposed to get excited about this? Come on, Tim.
You're not. But he's not going to be fucking stapled to Jack's wing. Like, he's playing 4C. He's going to get 10 minutes a night. We need someone to fill those minutes. Yeah, it's not great, but like, I don't know. I don't know what Fitzgerald's doing. I don't know, where he is. Is he in a cave in Minnesota? I don't know.
I haven't really done a ton of research into it, but what have I guess both of you guys think about? Like, is there any chance that they think Bordeleau is going to be an NHL player at any or for any amount of time for the Devils, or is that strictly a Comets move?
I think that's a Comets move. If I'm being completely honest, he's a center, but let me just say this. I talked about it on my show. Expectations moderate to low.
Yeah, Bordeleau is a he was like a buy low, lightning in a bottle type of, maybe he'll work out. He's got really good high-end skill. He's a bit of a water bug. He's tiny. I think he's like 5'9", 160 or something like that. The problem is, like, he's a top 6 guy. So he's a top 6 in the NHL or top 6 in the AHL. I do not think he's a guy that you want to put in on a third or fourth line. But he's got good talent. Who knows? He could be the guy. He could pop too. I have no idea. We're just running out the lollipop guild up the middle. But I don't think it was the craziest move. Do you want to know a fun fact about Bordeleau? Guess who Bordeleau's dad played with in Nashville?
I think I saw this somewhere.
You saw it on our show.
Was that where it was?
Yeah, he played with Tom Fitzgerald in Nashville. It's like this guy can't help himself. It's either guys that he played with or guys from Boston. It cracks me up. Also, Shane LaChance's dad just got promoted to director of amateur scouting.
What was he before that?
Some other
scout.
Some other scout.
Listen, that's another guy.
I think he has a good chance to make the team. I shat all over that deal. I shat all over that deal when it happened. Then I watched him because I was watching Yegorov, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's awesome."
I like the chance.
Just a big bag of meat that sits in front of the net. Yeah, the captain is a sophomore too, which is at BU, which is not anything to sneeze at.
Jay Pandolfo has those guys developing really well.
Pando, I think he just got an extension too, right?
Well deserved. The runner-ups to Western Michigan, Paul Cotter's alma mater.
He'd have no interest in moving on from there to an NHL job, I'd assume, right? Pando, it seems like he has a pretty good environment.
Yeah, I wouldn't, honestly. Plus, NHL coaches are given such short leashes. Like, they recycle through them so quick. Do what just do the Nick Saban thing. Just stick in college and get your bag, and just stay there.
I just forgot what I was going to say. Something about Pando. Can't remember.
He got an extension. That's what you mentioned.
No, I know.
We need that kind of combo, that Madden Pandolfo combo that can like shut down top guys. I think that's if I were to be after a 3C, if I were Tom Fitzgerald, I'd be going after a defensive specialist, in the Jordan Stahlish mold, just a big, ugly motherfucker from like Western Canada that could just shut down top lines so Nico can play more in the offensive zone.
I would love to see it, but anyone come to mind that could possibly be available?
Cody Glass.
Is he going to be that guy?
I don't know. No idea. His defensive metrics are great. He's 6'3", 210 pounds, something like that. He's a big kid. I don't know. He plays with like little fluffy animals too much, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, like I have no idea what they're going to do with this lineup. Nobody's doing anything. It's like 100 degrees here.
I was okay with Cody Glass. I think he did pretty well, honestly.
It's just
I mean, it came out of the gates hot. It's just it's unexciting, and I think people want
right. It's just not. That's not.
People want a big, exciting, fancy new toy. I get it, but they forget about the fancy new toys the fancy toys that we have in the cupboard already. It's like we're like spoiled little kids. You know, we're like I want this, I want that. It's like we have Jack Hughes, Teemo Meyer, Jesper Bratt, Nico Hischier at home.
And how many playoff wins have they garnered thus far, Tim? Collectively.
I can't hear you. What?
So how many playoff wins did that beautiful list give us?
You cutting out. I can't hear you. What?
Yeah, I bet you can't.
I get it. Jack was dead.
Hughes, when Jack Hughes plays, they have mustered 6 playoff wins total because my memory serves me well. 7 games against the Rangers. No, they lost in 5 to the Hurricanes. So 5 playoff wins.
Yeah, in one playoff year in 22-23. Terrible.
All right, I got to duck out past midnight. It's past my bedtime.
Oh shit, it's late, man. Have a good one, man.
Yeah, take care, boys. Yeah, I also froze too, so that's great. Trey, it's nice to meet you, man. Take care.
Nice to meet you, Tim.
5 wins, man. It's yeah, sometimes I get depressed. Yeah, hopefully the health goes a long way, but I'm just underwhelmed. I know most other people are. And you hope for the best. I'm very excited for the preseason. I do have to say, because of the uncertainty, I guess, for some of the spots, I do think the preseason will take on, at least for me, a new kind of excitement, because I do think there's going to be some legit battles for bottom 6 spots. Like, I think there's going to be a handful of guys minimum that are seriously being considered for maybe the last 2 spots or whatever it's going to be. So from that angle, I'm very excited I'm always excited for preseason, obviously, just because hockey's here. But I do think there's going to be there's a lot of implications, I think, for this preseason in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you get people who are battling for a spot. Like the Devils do have a few openings, and also don't underestimate the defensive battle as well. Like, because with Kovacevic out, that opens up the spot. Who's going to take it? Remember, the Devils have a lot of good young defensemen in Seamus Casey, Shimo Nemitz. Don't forget about Ethan Edwards now. I don't think we talked enough about him.
He looks good too.
Yeah, from the from Michigan as well. So my thing is, like you said, preseason can definitely bring the best in a lot of people. Or like, look at Kevin LeBanc. He basically showed out during preseason, and unfortunately, the Devils weren't able to sign him because I think he would have had to go through waivers or something like that. But he ended up netting himself a contract with the Blue Jackets, sort of saving his career.
Yeah, where did he finish? Let's see. Last year, yeah, wow. He only played 34 games for them. He had 2 goals and 10 assists for 12 points. Yeah, I was at the final preseason game last year was in Philly when the rest of the real team was in
Prague. Yep,
was it
Prague.
Sweden or Czechia?
Yep.
And he had the hat trick towards the end of the game, and I was like, damn, this guy, like, he's gonna get signed by somebody. See, that was just kind of the punctuation mark on a good preseason for him. And yeah, I forget the reason they said why the Devils couldn't get it done. I think like maybe Fitz told him you had to free up space, or there was kind of a thing where he was just like, my path of least resistance is to just go to Columbus, which, it is what it is, right?
I mean, look, if Kevin LeBanc was on the roster, I don't think he would have been a difference maker, but
no,
it was entertaining watching him during preseason. I'll say that. He made preseason entertaining.
Dude, I'm dying over here. We'll wrap this up. What do you think, Trey, the Luke contract years and cap hit, what do you think it comes in at?
So I think a lot of people have been comparing it to Brock Faber, where Brock Faber got an 8-year, $68 million contract with an average annual value of 8.5. So
And that was last summer.
Yep, that was July 2024.
Yeah. Different world.
So if I had to say, I would say maybe $8 million annually, 5 to 7 years.
5 to 7. They can't do 5. 5 would be suicidal because that would line up with Jack. You can't let them both hit free agency at the same time. I think that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, they got to get this done. They got to get this done at some point. Maybe that's where
5 years.
Maybe that's where you can meet in the middle. I don't know, but I'm hoping. Here's what I'm hoping: 8 years maximum, obviously, but as long as it's not a bridge deal, no bridge deals. That's what I'm hoping for.
I think it would be crazy for Luke's camp to push for that. I mean, obviously they could, spin it to him like, oh, sign this, and then in a few years. But like, with especially him, right, he's slightly injury prone as well. Like, I would imagine you want to secure as much money as possible, and if the opportunity is to sign for something decent for 8 years and pretty much, set yourself up for life in that one deal, it's pretty advantageous to do so. I'm just hoping, yeah, man. If it's, I honestly feel like anything less than the 8 years is a fail. Like, even if you had to pay him $9 million, obviously more than I would want to, but in a few years from now, that could be an absolute steal with the cap going up. And like you said, or I think you said it, like Kevin Ball, would he get almost $6 million? Like, you're telling me, Luke's not worth $9 million. And then in a few years from now, when the cap goes up even more, and then hopefully Luke is even better and more, developed in his career, he could easily be a $12 million defenseman in 2 or 3 years from now. And that's why I'm just like, get it done, man. Get it done.
Get it done. It's been over 40 days since Fitzy said like it was his top priority. And
40 something.
If it makes you feel better, Ace, I spoke to Paul Cotter and he said I would tell you something if I knew something.
Do you think there's any chance he ends up holding out?
Maybe. Look.
I'm trying to think. I don't even remember the last time we had that happen.
Well, we've had contract issues the past few seasons. Like last year, it was Dawson Mercer.
Terrible.
It was a matter of like, I think Mercer wanted stability. Devils wanted a bridge deal. Then you got the Jesper Bratt situation that almost went to arbitration. Luckily, they signed him to a 1-year extension and was like, hey, prove it. And he proved it, got that extension, got called out by Jack Hughes a little bit, saying like, look, you can't just say you want to play for the Devils. You actually got to do it. Like, you got to get the extension done. I remember Jack kind of threw that kind of shade during exit interviews in 2023. So it's nothing new, but it's going to get done. It's going to get done. Luke Hughes if he develops the way that he develops, I'm perfectly okay giving him a lengthy extension. I'm perfectly okay with it.
And what's the max number you'd be comfortable with?
I mean, like I said, I'm comparing it to the Brock Faber contract. So
before the cap went up, though, that was a year ago. Things have changed.
My maximum, similar to you, probably $9 million. Honestly, like
I feel like that should be able to get it done. I don't see. But who knows, man? He has the power agent, Brisson. He could be like 10.5.
He's gonna be one rich man.
Yeah, and he's gonna have plenty. He's gonna have at least one other big deal after that too. So it comes down to how much of that meat is gonna get left on the bone.
I think it's worth the investment. I'm willing to take. I don't even think it's a risk. I'm willing to do it.
No, so am I. All right, I'm dying here. Trey, appreciate you coming on. Tell the good folks that, to hit them with all the show info, the X, the Twitter, give them where they can find you at.
You can find Locked On Devils wherever you get your podcast from. Man, it is so late. You could also subscribe on YouTube. I think Ace and I are one of the most subscribed Devils YouTube pages out there. You can follow me on X at Trey Matt 4, the show's X page app at Locked On Devils. Ace, thanks for doing this once again, man.
No, of course, man. Always good talking to you, Trey. And I'll talk to you soon. And hopefully by then we have a Luke contract extension to talk about.
Fingers crossed, man. We'll see what happens.
All right, man. Have a good one. Take care.
You too, Ace.
And there it is, guys. Wow, I'm tired. Wow. The summer rolls on. All right, let me get to some of your comments here before I get out of here. When I have people on, I try not to do as much of the comments or like constantly pull them up, but I tried to scan them during. There's Tim. Yep, Tim. You could follow them at Uncle Puckers. Owen Power 8x8. I think that was also signed in the old kind of cap era. Jason knows I'm not giving Luke 9. That's crazy. I mean, I don't think 9's crazy. I do think 10.5 is high, but again, in a couple of years, that could be that could be a relative deal. There's no way to know at the moment, but I do think the contracts are going to start getting silly like that. Jason, no, I like Luke, but his strongest attribute is his skating. Take care, Brendan. Take care, Selecta Boy. Tomorrow, I forgot before I get out of here. Tomorrow morning, and I think I'm going to try to do this on Fridays, or at least Fridays for the rest of the summer and the preseason. Little Devils morning show where I'm going to do the call-ins because I know a lot of you like the call-ins. It's Devils morning drive tomorrow, 6 a.m. Eastern. Wait, I think it's 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Going to do a lot of call-ins, giving the New Jersey Devils fans a place to have your voice heard. Have your voice heard. Let me just double check this. Is this 6 a.m.? I've had all sorts of issues, guys. A lot of issues for this old man with the new studio that I'm still working on, obviously. I had situations with the camera and all the stuff, and it's always a nightmare, but I battle on. 6 a.m. tomorrow. 6 a.m. tomorrow. Going to try to bring maybe like a little bit of that old school sports radio talk kind of thing, but all just New Jersey Devils. Because as we all know, not too many people are talking New Jersey Devils. And you will have the opportunity because all we're talking about is the New Jersey Devils. Let me see here. Does the lack of sandpaper on this roster worry you? Because I'm worried. Of course it does, Snow. I want that script, man. I want the skilled grit, and I want it soon. But we're a little short on it at the moment. Not a lot of script. The skilled grit. Would love a nasty top six winger for Jack and Bratter. That has been my number one want for years now. Get me a skilled, gritty winger that could play with those guys. I would love to see it. But I've talked about this forever. Amongst my Devils fans friends, well before I had a channel, well before anything, you need Warriors to win in the playoffs, period. There's no debating it anymore for all the people that tried to say, you're a Neanderthal, you're living in the old times, blah, 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 blah. The Panthers have just showed you. They have showed you what it takes to go deep, to win cups, went to the finals 3 years in a row, and they're back-to-back cup champs. Skilled grit, up and down the lineup, just absolute battle-tested Warriors. And they went and got Marchand at the deadline. It was an unbelievable stroke of genius by Bill Zito and a long line of genius moves. He gets Marchand. They win the cup. Marchand probably came in second. I forget what the actual points were for the votes, but he was probably the second most voted guy for Conn Smythe, only to Sam Bennett. Wow. I mean, what an absolute run for that team. What an absolute deadline maneuver to get Marchand. Played a huge role in the cup win. And then everyone re-signs there on team-friendly deals. I mean, it's unbelievable stuff. Bill Zito should be sports executive of the decade, in my opinion. To get there and just turn that team around, and it basically started with Matthew Tkachuk. And then, they 3 finals in a row, back-to-back cup champs. And everyone wanted to stay. Metalander, yes, I'm doing a live at 6 a.m. This is trying to do like a little morning show, maybe for the people driving to work or whatever it is. I don't know, just an idea I had. We're gonna test it out. But obviously it'll be available on you could watch it at any point afterwards, but it will be live from 6 to 8 a.m. Little morning driver show. Wow, these lights get hot. Jay Snow, look at our back end outside of Dylan. Our defense core is soft, especially without Covey. No, I agree. But hopefully that Brendan Dillon tenacity rubs off on some other guys. I would love to see Dougie just embrace a nasty style and just start using his body to crush people, but I don't know. I just don't think it's in his DNA, and it is what it is. Not every guy is going to be that way. Casey the Ducks for McTavish, I would do that in a heartbeat. Jay Snow, Siegs played better with Kobe protecting him last year. Yeah, big bounce back season for Siegenthaler for sure. Huge bounce back. Metalanders, anyone else getting tired of getting outplayed by Carolina? Yeah, I think everybody is. The Hurricanes have owned us forever. Anyone got anything else interesting before I get out of here? Any thoughts, comments, questions? But yeah, tomorrow morning, I'm going to see if we get this little morning show going for the folks driving to work on Fridays. A little morning. And I guess there's some people probably all over there's people in other parts of the world where that might be like a normal, just like afternoon or night, I suppose, depending on where you're located. Fitz is afraid to make those kind of moves. Would love to see some aggression. Would love to see some win now moves for sure. Roman Czechmonic, sorry to say it's very likely to happen again this year. Oh, to lose to Carolina would be disgusting. Traveling Devil, I'm more tired of watching them lose points to the bottom feeders. Yeah, I mean, that seems to be another one of the kind of reoccurring themes for this team over the past few years is just dropping horrible losses to teams we definitely should beat, like the Ducks and the Sharks, et cetera, et cetera. Anyone got anything else? Anyone? Did I see the Novo tweet? What tweet? All right, I'm going to the bathroom real quick. Did I see the Novo tweet? I'll be back 1 minute. I'm running to the bathroom and then we're gonna wind this thing down. But what is the Novo tweet? I'll be back in 2 minutes and then we're gonna wrap up. Oh man, it's already wow. Time flies. Time flies when you're talking Devils hockey. All right. I don't know what the Novo tweet is. He was hinting about something happening where we'll be enticed to buy someone's jersey. Oh, you guys know. I guess it was just a Luke thing. So it's funny you mentioned that because I was thinking about this earlier today. You guys know how I feel about jerseys. I only personally wear jerseys of champions. I grew up in an era. I was fortunate enough to be the old man that I am, that I did see Devils dynasties. I did see 3 Stanley Cups, and I saw absolute legends play for this organization. And so while I cheer on the current boys and obviously love the team, when it comes to jerseys, I only can wear. I've told everyone I have 2 jerseys that I wear basically, and I wear a Marty jersey to most games. Occasionally bust out a Stevens, but I can't wrap my head around wearing a current guy's jersey. I'm weird about it too, though. I also said, the age probably plays a factor. Like, wear a jersey of a guy that I could like be their dad. I feel like that's kind of weird too. But more so than anything, the winning thing. Like, we had champions that I saw, so I'm always going to represent the champions. Which brings me to my next point. I'm still trying to rebuild the studio, as you guys see here. I have had a bunch of ideas in my head. Like, I have a million sticks. I thought about making like a stick wall. Obviously, I have some, iconic moments in franchise history, signed photos and things. So other equipment. I've had a bunch of different ideas kind of come across my mind, and I'm very indecisive about it. And so I'm still in a rebuild of the studio, trying to figure it out. But like, I don't really know. But in terms of talking about the jersey thing, I was thinking about the studio, and I was like, I want to have some stuff of the current team, but I almost feel a very similar way to how I feel about the jersey for me. And that's like, I only have so much room in the studio that you could see. I mean, there's a lot of space in the studio where I could have stuff that's not on camera. But in terms of the stuff that's on camera, what I'll call the prime real estate of the studio canvas, it's hard for me not to dedicate most of the space to the same champions that I'm talking about from the glory years that I would have jerseys of. So I don't know. I'm trying to kind of figure out a balance of like, current guys and the legends, but there's not a ton of space where you could see. I'll show a cool piece real quick. This was something I came across the other day. I never showed this. Oh shit, I don't want to break stuff here. Oh, hold up. Oh. Knocking stuff. I'm knocking down gloves and stuff. But this is a plaque thing, right? Well, the glare is terrible. It's a plaque. I got this made, like, this was right after they won the cup. But essentially, they have like the box score on the bottom here. Oh, this thing's reversed. On the bottom, this is like the box score from the finals games with a picture of Marty, which I've been meaning to replace. I do have a cool photo. It was like a collage photo, I think, of the champs signed by like everyone on it. I don't have it in front of me, so I don't remember who it was. But that's my actual ticket from the game, from Game 7, home Game 4. And around it on the edges there is pieces of the confetti that came from the ceiling of the arena after they won. So I grabbed a bunch of handfuls of that, and that's the confetti that you see here. This is all confetti from the ceiling around the ticket. And this is a lower level ticket. When I talk about the good old days, lower level ticket, $150 face value. And then this is a picture on the bottom here of me and Scotty Stevens after Game 7. Pretty cool piece, but I want to swap a couple things out. I might take the picture of me out and replace that with like the team photo on the ice. And then I think I want to replace the Marty photo with the signed collage photo. And I have to find it. I have so much crap, guys. What do we got here? Got Zajac game-worn gloves, the old Eastons. Got more Eastons, the Brian Ralston, multiple stint New Jersey Devil, 1995 Stanley Cup champ. What else do I got kicking around? Another guy I love, Jamie Langenbrunner, got the nickname Lags on there. Little CCM. What else do I got? I'm just looking around. I just have shit all over the place trying to figure it out. This is a different version of a previous piece that you did see. This is the Warner Brothers Taz. This one, the one in the old studio, was the one signed by Marty. This one, and that was a goalie. This is the forward version. And this is signed by Marty and Scott Stevens and the artists, the McKimson brothers, Tom and Charles McKimson, who I guess, is one of the Warner Brothers artists, but signed by Marty and Stevens. Love that. This was a super nostalgic piece from when I was a kid. I'm trying to look what else we got floating around. I don't know. There's stuff everywhere, but I'm trying to figure it out. The balance between current guys and the legends. So we'll see. I'm trying to figure it out, but I'm sure a lot of you, the younger fans, are probably very pro current guys, and I'm always going to be biased to the champs. Now, Snow, there was a company that made it. I think, are they still in business? Let me see. You could send them your ticket and stuff and then pick like the format of what you wanted. And yeah, I had talked to them and sent them my ticket from Game 7 and then sent the confetti and told them I kind of wanted it around the ticket. But yeah, I wanted to change the pictures out of there forever. So I think I might do a little surgery on that and change, but I can't find. I have to go digging through. I have so much crap. I'm trying to organize and get a lot of my stuff in order here while I'm building out this Studio 2.0. A lot of options. I was going to be lazy and just do sticks all around, but I don't know. I feel like that's a little boring. I don't know if I just did a stick wall, but like, let me see what we got here. Oh, he came up before. This is one of my favorites. The Blue Mission. Anyone know whose this might be? Anyone recognize this from the glory years? Blue Mission. Jeff Friesen. Love this mission. I remember this, the M1, the blue M1. Always loved this stick. This is probably my favorite hockey stick model of all time. Super nostalgic. It came in silver and gold as well. The Easton Synergy was ahead of its time. One of the first, one of the early composite one-piece super light sticks when guys were transitioning from the wood. Easton Synergy, and this one, I have a lot of guys use Synergies over the years. But this one, oh shit, it's upside down. What? John Madden. What a legend. John Madden Synergy. Always love Madden. What a guy. What a guy. What else I got floating around? Oh. This is a slightly more current model Synergy. The one I just showed you was like the OG Synergy. Damn light glare is annoying, but this one has like the this is the newer version Synergy with the candy cane tape job. And that one belongs to your New Jersey Devils single season goal record with 48. Brian Gianta, 2003 Cup champ. 2003 Cup champ, Brian Gianta. Love Gio. What a legend Gio was, too. Oh, this one's wrapped underneath. Speaking of the old Woodies, I know a lot of you old timers remember these. The old school Woods, the Sherwood, PMPX. These things are pretty heavy. The wood, the old school Woody, and this one belongs to another franchise legend, Number 16, Bobby Holik. 1995 and 2000 Stanley Cup champ. Bobby Holik. Fatoric, the equipment sales, the draft parties are so much fun back in the day. Oh, man. One of my favorites and something I miss dearly. They really were. I got some cool stuff from some of those. I got actually one of my favorite items. Maybe I'll show it if people care. I don't know how much people care about this stuff. I think a lot of people are like, I don't want to see all this shit, but I got a seriously cool piece from one of those draft parties, which is one of my treasures. Came from one of those draft parties that I've never actually shown. It's not nearby. That's in the vault. Anyone got anything else before I close it up here? Maybe I'll just put Marty shit. The whole background will just be Marty shit everywhere. My boy's brother had 1,000 Sherwoods. Yeah, what a classic stick. Patty used the black one back in the day. Eliash came into the league. He had the black Sherwoods. I have some of those too. Craig, legends that made the Devils. Absolutely. Glory days. Jay Snow, Marty has a 15-year-old son. Yes. His youngest son, Max, also a goalie. No, so Marty got remarried probably about, 17 years ago or something. And Max is his son with his wife. And he's 15. He plays goal, followed in the family business. Like two of Marty's older sons, both Anthony and Jeremy, played goaltender, and now Max is playing goalie as well. He has a pretty cool mask too. Kind of modeled after Marty's. But yeah, be interesting to kind of follow his career, see where he ends up. I'm pretty sure he's pretty good. Seems like he's pretty good anyway. I've seen some of the stats and things, but probably too early to know what his real potential is. But obviously, yeah, watching kids of guys that I grew up watching is crazy. It makes you feel super old. Jay Snow, I'm curious to see what happens with Dawes, man. I don't even know. I don't see any world where it makes sense to hang on to him unless we're going to carry 3 goalies, which seems a little of a stretch. Like, I don't know what I just don't see what the point is. But, who knows? Maybe Fitz will want to do that because we do have 2 older goalies, and if one of them goes down, in the event that Dawes was dealt, I think that would kind of leave you in a spot where, Jacob Malik would arguably be kind of 3 on the depth chart. I think it's going to be interesting. I think Malik definitely has potential. It's a big year for him. He's going to be in Utica. I'd imagine he has a very good chance of winning the starting job. And so if that's the case, you could see a world where an injury to Markey or Allen would result in a Jakob Malik call-up. Excuse me, I think I just said Jacob because I was listening to everyone call him Jacob forever, but I did do an interview with him and clarified it is, in fact, Jakob. Jakob Malik looking to make a splash in North America. We'll be rooting for the kid. Super nice kid. Looks like he's the real deal. And it's going to be interesting to see him in Utica and whoever else. Yeah, I think Utica is going to be a much more interesting follow for me this season because I do think, depending on who makes the team out of camp, I do think there's going to be a good amount of guys on Utica that eventually will be New Jersey Devils. Now, because of lack of depth and things last year, that wasn't really the case because we pretty much took anyone that was going to, worthy of NHL time, we took because we didn't have depth. But now I think there's going to be guys that are just kind of waiting in the wings, as it should be. Your AHL squad in any given season should have guys that are capable of playing in the NHL or will develop into NHL players. I think, again, because of lack of depth, that wasn't really the case last year with Utica. But I think this year there's going to be, because of all these guys vying for spots, there will be at least a good 3 to 5 maybe guys playing for Utica that eventually will be NHL players. So we will see if that could be the, LeChance, Hami Naho, maybe a couple others. Yegorov is still super raw. Yeah, I don't think he's ready yet, obviously. He's super young. I think he's only 19. But he is going to be a monster. Yeah, we need to get to Yegorov after the vet goalies age out. I think he's got at least 2 more years in Boston, or at least a year at Boston, and then maybe a year in Utica. But I don't think he's that far away. And I do think he's going to be the next franchise goaltender for the New Jersey Devils. I said that for a while. Great pick in the second round. He looks like the real deal. I've seen him play live. I've watched a bunch of his games on television. I saw him live at Devils rookie camp about a month ago or so, and he looks like the real deal. And I think he's just going to continue to get better with time and experience. And he's a big boy. Big boy, great movement. The prospect I'm most excited about in the organization by far. I think he's the real deal. And when he gets here, it's a new era. The Yegorov era in New Jersey should be one that hopefully sees us win championships, because that's the name of the game, guys. That is the name of the game. Let me see if there's anyone else in this chat here. Oh, wow, it's late. It is late in New Jersey. But tomorrow, for those that are awake early, or you could watch it on the replay, but if you're driving to work, Devils Morning Drive makes its debut tomorrow. We'll be taking call-ins pretty much probably the whole show. I want to give the fans a voice. I want to hear what you guys have to say. And Devils Morning Drive will be a place for you to do just that. So for those of you that want to call in, talk about the Devils, that will be tomorrow, 6 to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you can't watch it live, you could watch the replay. The beauty of the internets. The absolute beauty of the internets. Link in description. Devils Morning Drive tomorrow. Maybe some of you wackos will be there after a late night tonight. But good times, guys. Boring summer. One of the most boring off seasons in recent memory for me. Not a lot of excitement. Hopefully this Luke deal gets done soon. And that's all I got. I'll be back in the morning. 6 a.m. Devils Morning Drive. Taking the call-ins. Talking New Jersey Devils hockey. And that's it. Thank you to Trey from Locked On Devils. Check him out. Thank you to Tim of Uncle Puckers. Check them out. And I'll be back soon, guys. This old man is beaten up. And I will be back tomorrow morning. Devils Morning Drive makes its debut. I got a lot of exciting stuff in the works. And you'll see. A lot of stuff in the works. But thank you all for watching. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go.